Let's begin from the Central Region. For a month now, residents in Cape Coast and surrounding communities are grappling with unavailability of potable water. GBC News gathers that residents have to walk long distances in search of water, while others rely on water from boreholes, rivers and streams for their daily activities. Residents appeal to the Ghana Water Company to provide them with tankers to provide temporary relief.
The GWCL has attributed the situation to illegal mining activities along the Pra River in the Central Region, which is the main source for the company's Setre Heman treatment plant. Information from the Ghana Water Company Limited in the Central Region indicates that there is no solution in sight for the current water challenge until the issue with illegal mining in those places are dealt with. In Elmina and other communities, residents rely on water from boreholes, rivers and streams for their daily activities. Sometimes they have to make do with the polluted water sources. Some residents shared their frustrations with GBC News.
We are not as deprived as the other tenants around. So most of the tenants or the households do come here to draw water. Our water bodies, Galamsey should not be tolerated. It should be regularized so that you can get cleaner water. This is the reason why there is shortage right now in the Cape Coast municipality.
Ghana Water Company Limited says it is currently doing less than 50% of water treatment. The company explained that with the drying up of these water sources and the increase in population due to the ongoing Fetu Afashe, the company can hardly get enough treated water for residents.
And there seems to be no end in sight as the water crisis in the Central Region escalates. Officials of the Ghana Water Company Limited say they are yet to find a meaningful solution to the problem. In an interview with GBC News, the Public Relations Officer for the Central and the Western Regions, Mr. Nana Yao Barima Bani, said the company is considering a possible water rationing as a temporary solution. However, he also emphasized the urgent need for action against illegal mining activities, which they believe are aggravating the situation.
For now, we are going to sit down and strategize, because the point is that maybe you would say, why don't you supply them with tankers?
Yes.
That is a very difficult thing to do, because the customer population we are talking about, Cape Coast alone is 8,000 customers, and then Elmina is 4,000 customers. To what extent can you satisfy this customer population with tanker service? So that is something that will be difficult to do. But we will strategize, as I said, we will strategize and find out how we can help them, because Cape Coast is actually not served only from Setre Heman. We also supply water from Brimso also to Cape Coast. So we find out how we will be able to possibly ration the water in such a way that there will be equitable distribution of the water. So the last thing we'd ever do is to leave our customers in the dark and not do anything about them.
Okay, you mentioned water rationing. When is that going to start?
Currently, as I said, we will go and sit down how we will be able to do that, because Cape Coast is not really known for water rationing. So now that this issue has come up, we need to rethink how we will be able to ensure that there is equitable distribution, where the little water available goes round for everybody to have a bite.
Away from water issues, let's take you to Parliament, where the Speaker of the House, Mr. Alban Bagbin, has described the decision to recall Parliament a day after recess as an act in bad faith. The recall, initiated by the Majority Leader, Mr. Penyo Markin, pursuant to Article 112, Clause 3 of the 1992 Constitution, petitioned the Speaker to convene an emergency sitting to consider important state business just a day after the House adjourned on July 30, 2024. Addressing the House upon his recall, Speaker Bagbin expressed disappointment, saying that many of the items listed were not urgent. However, the Speaker admitted 3 critical items for consideration during this 2-day emergency sitting beginning September 3.
A frequent invocation of Article 1123 particularly in a House composed such as this 8th Parliament, could pose challenges to the governance of the country. Frequent recalls can disrupt planned legislative annual budget and workflow, drain national resources, and affect the overall productivity of Parliament. Honourable members, I invite members to, at the appropriate time, deliberate on this matter to establish when it is appropriate to resort to the use of Article 1123.
Meanwhile, the Majority Leader, Mr. Alexander Penyumakin, has disagreed with the Speaker's contention. He insisted that his petition was a humble request for the House to undertake some urgent assignment. The Minority Leader, Dr. Kessil Atufosin, on the other hand, reiterated the minority's opposition to the tax exemptions, advocating for conversion to tax credits to equity shares.
When a company is given tax exemption, what that company does is that to use the space to expand and to employ more. What I think my colleagues in opposition, led by the Minority Leader, should focus on is how to put in monitoring mechanisms to avoid abuses of such grants when companies benefit from. I am with them in full when the decision is taken and they say that let us put in the monitoring blocks. That I support, so that people do not abuse tax exemptions when granted.
The NDC minority has not changed our position on these tax exemptions. We have always maintained that these tax exemptions are not in the best interest of the ordinary Ghanaian. Our position has always been, and still remains, that they should convert these tax exemptions into tax credit and otherwise may be linked these tax exemptions into equity shares as stipulated in the Tax Exemptions Act. We will not support a giveaway of $350 million to crony businesses in a very opaque and untransparent manner.
Mahama has wagged his fingers against government request for 500 million cedi dry spell fund from the contingency fund. Mr. Mahama also voiced his concerns over the politicization of district road improvement projects, particularly in the distribution of earth-moving machineries. The NDC flag bearer said this at Ayoya in Kintampo South on his campaign tour of the Bono East region.
According to government reports, over 928,000 farmers in Ghana's key agricultural regions have been severely impacted by prolonged dry spells this season, leading to significant water stress on crops. The sector ministry has estimated investment losses at 3.5 billion cedis and revenue losses of 10.4 billion cedis for farmers. Speaking at a campaign rally at Ayoya in Kintampo South of the Bono East region, Mr. Mahama attributed the worsening drought and rising food insecurity to what he described as the poor governance of the new patriotic party. He called on the government to ensure that these initiatives are carried out with fairness and transparency without partisan considerations.
Parliament embeti sikebi no mo fankoto ebro ene mu ewa brochire no mo fambe cheche ema ekuafo na yeni momo yehubida COVID time yedi sikafi amanone edibre omo se omo nchema Ghana fo nyina omo de ma omo party chairman any omo women's organizers na we ye bie ye ni hwe sa support na omo say omo de be ma farmers no yen tna ho emma omo ncheche emma omo party supporters chairman ni women organizers no e was say nya omo de be bia ahemfo eka ho na omo kire say ne be che eni omo ni siafa politics.
Mr. Mahama also voiced his concerns over the politicization of district road improvement projects, particularly the distribution of earth-moving machinery.
Make us say, Meba, Fidia, Ya Yesika Yadiato, a grader, payloader, and sa Fidia Yadia coin. Ya Ghana, Yato, and Yadiato. Yadiama, Achiachama district, Bia. Maybe who said Bakujina Kwemu, parliamentary candidate or MPP, ordinary poster bosso, and yan the Fidia, a Ghana for Fidi, and you no cover by a 2 year tour and no monitor toy. And it's our machines do young farm must say a politics. Yet by say ye be ye quine, na ye be a quine ama obey to the apostle. And your parliamentary candidate beyond the buy. It was a party flag be bosso and as a candidate poster be a time why poster different so. Self Dianuponia Martin say, Omunchian ye. Until Niakano NDC are buying a beba bitua. Until be any quite so the poster and not a flag ever Tarisa machines no.
Still in Kintampo South, the flag bearer of the NDC has strongly criticized the ruling government for what he terms as the unjust cancellation of road contracts that were signed for which projects were initiated by the NDC in 2016. Upon taking office, the current government halted the construction of roads under the Cocoa Roads project, citing the need for an audit of the contracts. However, after nearly 8 years, no adverse findings have been found against any former government official involved in these contracts. Mr. John Mahama assured the people of Amoma in Kintampo South constituency that his next administration would not cancel any road construction projects currently being carried out by the MPP administration.
I say Amoma Kwai 2020 ya di fidie begu so. Abra ye wa ba mu ya de ma Cocoa Roads anka ekwanya efri Amoma ekopie agina Nina na contractor Egusum. Ye no Cocoa Roads. Abai for baya. Almost say Amoma ha ye nua Cocoa. Nti ade ne de Cocoa Roads aba. Na ye nua Cocoa say yes ye dua cashew. Na cashew ye fa nko amano ne nkoton $4 ma. Nti na ye Ghana for ni bi. Nti ne de Cocoa Roads ba ya ye de bi ba Amoma. Se ne be ya ye kwan na trucks na ebetwe cashew no kono ombenya kwan aba beto cashew no near the kwa amano ne ediskaba Ghana enti yeba saa kwan ni nyina yebeto asubio 2020 yedi fidie begu saa kwan so yeto abawie ya eno ano eno mbesa kwan afia yebeto ababio ehu se contractor gu so na minimse aka mfie miensa na nina bibia abayiye na minim se efie ebosom miensa akai enkoba se ombeba begu so fefe na bibia yeye eye ndisi na beba beto aso ewie sa mokwanyi amamo.
And on Tuesday, the presidential candidate of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, began his Central Regional campaign tour from the Ewutu Senya East constituency. Dr. Bawumia connected with the ordinary people, met traditional authorities, religious leaders, and the youth in the community. In all his meetings, Dr. Bawumia re-echoed his vision of development to meet sectors such as economy, agriculture, natural resources, improved tax administration anchored on digitization for Ghana's entry into the fourth industrial revolution.
The entry to the central region by the presidential candidate of the NPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, was his one-on-one interaction with the people. Dubbed meet and greet, it is part of Dr. Bawumia's strategy to get personal with the people and listen to their critical challenges. He went through all the shops around Kaswa Overpass to interact with the shop owners and those on the streets. Alongside the Member of Parliament, Madam Hawa Kumsen, Dr. Bawumia extended his personal interaction to the main market at Kaswa. Flanked by hundreds of party supporters, Dr. Bawumia went through every corner of the market to sell his message of business and job creation for Ghana. Dr. Bawumia visited the palace of the Odikro of Kaswa, Nenyen Mohammed Sani Yusuf. Also at the palace was the Gonja chief of Kaswa. They commended Dr. Bawumia for engaging in politics of ideas and policies, which is gradually changing Ghana's political landscape.
These are the kind of leaders that we need in Ghana. The politics of insults is past, and we are very happy. The way you are going, inshallah, is shall. 2025, the good people of Ghana will speak.
Stakeholder engagement at the Kaswa Methodist Church was the next activity of the presidential candidate in the Ewutu Senya East constituency. It was a gathering of both Christian and Muslim leaders in the constituency. The stakeholder engagement is another feature of Dr. Bawumia to meet these key stakeholders in the community and out his vision and plans before them. The religious leaders at the forum expressed their delight in the manner Dr. Bawumia has conducted himself as vice president and the number of initiatives he has championed to transform lives.
National Health Insurance na ekuno ya peja no biom eye ejuma ama yenyina yede nhihye bebre aba ambulance service no anana eguno yede one constituency one ambulance aba yato 307 ambulance there's na ewo 37 ambulance ye ejuma bebre road sector say they're building more roads than any other government in the Fourth Republic.
Lower taxes, industrialized agriculture, lower electricity tariffs are some of the policies Dr. Bawumia took time to explain to the gathering on how it will improve Ghana's economy.
Ubia benya credit score. Yeyane sanoa ubetimi akotoniama na utia kakra. Ukoye hairdressing no year. No akoto machines. Na utia kakra. Na bibia ekoso na asitnemu enyedin embayente se seri.
He urged them to vote for him in the 2024 general elections to bring his vision into fruition.
And NPP's presidential candidate, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, wrapped up his tour of the central region at the Ewutu Senya East constituency at a mini community connect. Dr. Bawumia spelled out policies that will transform the country's economy.
The Community Connect is a key feature of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's possibility campaign trail in all the constituencies. He engages young people especially to explain what he calls the youth-oriented policies. NPP supporters gathered at the park in front of the newly constructed Central East Police Headquarters at the Kaswa New Market. The Member of Parliament for Ewutu Senya East and the parliamentary candidate of the NPP, Madam Mavis Kumsen, said the NPP has performed creditably in the constituency and the country at large and must be maintained. NPP's presidential candidate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia enumerated initiatives by the government since 2017 which has transformed many lives.
We have certainly done more digitalization than any government in the history of Ghana. Ghana card, digital address, mobile money interoperability, the drones about, the paperless ports about, Ghana.
He also spelled out his youth-oriented policies that will bring development.
Ghana first policy. So the government, the government,
Dr. Bawumia said all the policies aim to upgrade the country to a different level of development.
front, where President Akufo-Addo is in China, and he has again promised to ensure that Ghana's election in December is free, fair and peaceful. The president assured that no candidate would be imposed on the country against the will of Ghanaians. Speaking at a dinner with Ghanaians living in China ahead of the 2024 FUCAC Summit,
in recent years, reflecting the deepening ties between the two sides.
Biggest trading partner in Ghana today. China too has, apart from being the biggest trading partner, has also been exceptionally valuable and useful to us in the whole of this debt restructuring exercise that has engaged our government these last few years. That is why I'm particularly excited and happy to be here to participate in this FUCAC conference. This is the second time.
The president is in the company of his wife, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Madam Shirley Aliko Botwe, the Minister for Finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, among others. Samuel Ayama, GBC News.
And an attempted jailbreak in Congo's main prison in the capital has left at least 129 people dead, most of them in a stampede.
On Monday, people living near the prison spoke about hearing gunshots but attempts by journalists to reach the site with
Good morning, Felicity. How is our weather looking like? We're hearing water shortages across the board. Are we expecting more rains? Hello, Felicity. Good morning. Hi, Felicity. Can you hear me? We seem to be having challenges with the phone lines reaching through to Felicity Ahafianyo from GMET this morning. Good morning, Felicity. Do we have you on phone now? Hello, Felicity. Yes, go ahead. Hello, Felicity. Unfortunately, our phone lines haven't been graceful this morning. We'll try and connect with her in due course. Let's bring you the Lotto numbers for today. And the winning numbers for Alpha Lotto Delta Tuesday are 21, 21, 43, 43, 70, 70, 67, 67, and 4. Single for again. The winning numbers for Alpha Lotto Delta Tuesday are 21, 21, 43, 43, 70, 70, 67, 67, and 4. Single 4. And that's it for GTV Breakfast News. There's more news when you log on to our website at gbcghanaonline.com. I am Maltiti Saida Sadek. My costume is by No Rush Collection. You can find it everywhere online. I'm throwing it over to Kaf Auntie. They're standing by. Kaf Auntie, what's up this morning? What's in your, bed for you?
Yes, well, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a hot conversation in the next couple of minutes. It's about everybody's favorite topic. We all got here because of that. And we'll give you a conversation. But there are risks also, So we're talking about sexually transmitted diseases. So something you want to be really glued to and paying attention very much for. Good morning.
If it's not on, it's not in. I love that campaign.
Yes, it's true.
Welcome to GTV Breakfast. Yeah. And this morning, we'll serve you some sizzling hot helpings of the NPP's gender policy when the chair of the manifesto subcommittee in charge of gender and children's and social protection sits with us this morning. And we'll also talk to the Ghana Health Service Workers Union, who are marking their 80th anniversary.
Good stuff. We've got NASA giving us a fashion runway feel today on lifestyle. And your messages on 055-556-1034. My name is Kaf.
I'm T.
Val is around. You'll see her soon. Good morning.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is the Breakfast Show.
Drivers, I want to park when I say, "Oh, who's that zebra crossing here? I say, "The professor became a zebra crossing now." Gina, I was so making sure the car seeing me and sign out with you.
You have come some yellow ben shadow Pierna Tamale, Carmel Bukata, Numana Zaman Nutambo, Zanjanda Teliabum Simple. Now on this so.
Daga cikin muhimman rawa na a zo a gani da Hausawa suka taka a cikin wannan ƙasa shine kafa zangonnai da suka zama gimshiki na cibiyoyin kasuwanci da fatauci. Ko shakka babu, shi ke karfafa ingantacciyar tattalin arziki da kuma karfafa al'adun gargajiya.
Wakake abuna gogbeke biye ehiawa. Demo fia market okobia bawe ni awele ka bu ye unu sanagbu abagbule.
Hello. It was a short prayer to launch us into the conversation, and you are watching GTV Breakfast. My name is Kafuide. We're in the BFS clinic right now. We have Dr. Esther Yesuto Agbozo. She's a medical doctor with Wejak Bawe Municipal Hospital, and we're going to talk about sex today, specifically sexually transmitted diseases. Dr. Agbozo, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you,
Okay, so we're talking about sex. We're talking about sexually transmitted diseases. What are the most common STDs, and how are they transmitted?
Okay, so when we talk about sexually transmitted diseases, they are diseases that can be transmitted by any form of sexual contact. Mm-hmm. We are talking about vaginal sex, we are talking about anal sex, we are talking about oral sex. Mm-hmm. Now, the very common ones, I usually like to put them in categories. So we have the ones that are caused by bacteria. So for the bacterial ones, we are looking at chlamydia, we are looking at gonorrhea, we are looking at syphilis. Mm-hmm. Then we come to the viruses. For the virals, we are talking about human papilloma virus, or HPV. We are talking about herpes simplex virus, or we call it HSV. And then we know about the almighty HIV, which is also a virus. Then we can look at some parasites. Parasites, usually the very common one that we would mention is what we call Trichomonas vaginalis. It's trichomoniasis, that is the name of the infection. These are the very common sexually transmitted infections that we have.
If you were to rank them, which are the most common that you see in your practice or in Ghana? Which ones are them?
Okay. So the most frequently seen are the bacterial infections. Okay. So very frequently chlamydia, and then gonorrhea, and then syphilis comes after. Then, funny enough, we have a lot of HPV infections lately as well. And for some people, we've come to understand that recently. I've noticed that for the past about 1 week now, I've had so many people come in who have actually tested positive for HIV. Really? So it tells us, yes. I think just 2 days ago, I was in a consulting room. I had like 4 different people coming, and they were all testing positive for HIV.
Age range?
These are people between 15 to 49. Yeah.
Male, female?
I saw 3 females and then 1 male. So it tells us that the prevalence is actually increasing. Okay. Yes.
Single, married?
3 of them were married. The gentleman was single, but the ladies were all married.
Did their spouses test positive?
They didn't come with their spouses. That's the unfortunate thing. So now the men also have to come in and then test. Interestingly, you would have people, the females are positive, and then the males come and test and they are negative. I had a patient who actually passed from this same infection. Mm-hmm. We tested the man and he was negative. So they begin to ask, where did she get it from? Did she get it from elsewhere? So it tells us that maybe there's some extramarital affair going on. That's maybe where she got it from, because the man was negative. Meanwhile, the woman was positive, and she's even died from the infection.
So did he know that she was negative, positive in the end?
Yes, in the end, he found out. Okay. Usually, we don't disclose that information to your partner unless the patient agrees that we should tell their partners. So eventually, when she became very ill, she was getting to the end, the man kept asking questions. So we told him that he should ask her. She knows what is. We can't tell him. Per our ethics, we are not allowed to do that. So eventually, she had to tell him before the end. Yeah.
But that was risky, because he must have been having sex with her.
That is the disadvantage with our profession. In as much as we know that the man has to be protected, our job doesn't allow us to we call it patient-doctor confidentiality. If you do that, the patient can actually sue you. You could lose your license because of that, because whatever information they pass on to you, you are only allowed to disclose it with the patient's permission.
Wow. So you've told us what the common STDs are. And what are the physical and emotional consequences of not treating an STD?
Okay. So when it comes to the physical consequences, there are a lot of them. So when people don't treat STDs, you would see that, let's take it male and female. Now, when you take females, we have most of the bad complications for untreated STDs. The unfortunate thing for females is that most of these STDs are very asymptomatic. We don't have any symptoms. For the men, if a man gets gonorrhea or syphilis, in a day or two, he may see a symptom. Either you have some pain whilst he's urinating, which is very severe, such that he has to come to the hospital. He may have some pain in his scrotum, which is very bad, that he has to come to the hospital. He may have some penile discharge, which he'll be worried about it. He may come to the hospital. But for women, we can walk around and have no idea we have an STD because there is no symptom. Now, because of that, a lot of women will end up with what we call pelvic inflammatory disease. So the infection now moves not only in the vagina, it goes all the way up. It ascends into the uterus, that is the womb. It can go all the way into the fallopian tubes and end up in the ovaries. So some of these women can end up with infertility just because of an STD which was not treated. And then again, for an STD like the human papillomavirus, it is the commonest risk factor for women when we talk about cervical cancer. So for women who have cervical cancer, most of them is just because they didn't treat an HPV infection maybe some 5 or 10 years ago. Then they end up with a cancer just because they didn't treat an STD. And for some women again, if you have an STD and you don't treat it, when you are pregnant, you actually have a risk of having a premature delivery, because your membranes, which is what is wrapping the baby, can actually rupture when it's not time just because there is an infection. So we can talk about the infertility, we can talk about the cancers, we can talk about the pelvic inflammatory disease, which can even end up in your bloodstream eventually and kill you.
You spoke about the 3 types of sex, vaginal, anal, oral. Yeah. In terms of risk, which is the highest for spreading STDs? It is anal. So when we talk about STDs, usually we would say that everybody is at risk. Anybody who is sexually active is at risk of having an STD. But there are certain groups of people who are more risk. One of those groups of people are men who have sex with men. And these men, we know they are having anal sex. The anal mucosa is such that it is not designed for that. What is a mucosa? The mucosa is like the lining of the anus. Okay. We call it the mucosa. So the mucosa is not designed for that. And because you are using it for an activity, it doesn't have the lubrication that the vagina has. And so because of what you are exposing to something which is not technically supposed to be its duty, you'd see that the mucosa will easily break compared to the vagina. Now, usually STDs are transmitted when you have a breach somewhere in the mucosa. A break? Yes, a break. That is the reason why there are actually some men whose wives can have HIV and they will never get it, because men are not like women. Men don't easily get cuts when we are talking about sex. So if there is no cuts, he's very likely not to get the infection. Doesn't it go through the, what's the name of the hole where the urethra? Urethra, it can't pass through there? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. It can happen, but very unlikely. Usually when you have a breach in the skin, that is when you have the infections going on. So for anal sex, you have a higher risk because the mucosa there is easily going to break down. Higher risk compared to a man picking an infection from a woman. Yeah. And then oral sex. What is the risk of getting an STD through oral sex? Yes. So you can get an STD from oral sex because there are some particular viruses, something like the herpes virus. They thrive in the oral mucosa for whatever reason. And so as you are going on with the oral activity, you can either pick it from the person's genitals, and it will be in your mouth when you are walking around. You can give it, passing on to somebody else. With a kiss? Oh, kissing can, give STDs, but it is very unlikely. Again, like I said, unless the person you are kissing has some breach in their oral mucosa as well. It is unlikely for you to get an STD from a kiss. It is possible. Okay. Medicine, we never say never. But then, it means the person receiving the case has to have a breach in their oral mucosa to be able to receive the infection. Yeah. So tongue to vagina, tongue to penis, which one has a higher risk of you getting an STD? I would go for tongue to vagina because, the vagina has a lot of secretions and fluids down there. So as you are exposing your tongue there, you are very likely to pick up something compared to tongue to penis. Even if there are no breaches on your tongue? Then if there are no breaches on your tongue, then your risk is lower. But if there are breaches on your tongue, sometimes you can have breaches and you don't even know. Yes, that is why... Micro cuts and things like that. That is why now there are even, protective stuff for even oral sex. We will look at them soon. Okay. Yeah. All right. Since you brought up the whole issue of protection, let's talk about some protection right now. Okay. So when it comes to sexually transmitted infections, the first way you can protect yourself is abstinence. So for those who are not married, I know you people will not agree with me, some of you, but it is best to stay abstinent because that is your surest way of not getting an STD. You're not even doing it. You're not doing anything. That's your surest way. Now, for those who are married, you need to do what we call mutual monogamy. Mutual in the sense that you have just one partner, and each of you have just one partner. Because if I have just one partner, but my partner has other partners, I'm still at risk. Because whatever my partner gets, he can give it to me. So it has to be mutual, such that both
parties have just one partner. So you know that there is nothing coming from anywhere.
So MM, mutual monogamy.
Mutual monogamy. And then we come to vaccination. So vaccination, there are some of the viruses that have vaccines. So like the human papilloma virus, which causes cervical cancer, there are vaccines for it. So you have to get tested first. If you don't have it, they give you the vaccine to protect you. And then we also have hepatitis, which I didn't mention earlier. Hepatitis can also be transmitted sexually, hepatitis B and then C. There is a vaccine for hepatitis B. So at least you can protect yourself with the vaccine for hepatitis B so that even if you're exposed, you don't get it. And then we come to the barrier methods. The barrier methods, we are looking at condoms, we are looking at dental dams. Condoms, we are looking at a male condom, we are looking at the female condom. And then the dental dam is what we use for oral sex.
Really? You have one here I can have a look at?
I think there's a picture of the dental dam,
Okay.
if we can have that.
All right, so let's bring up the dental dam. Let's see what it looks like. All right. Is it commonly found in Ghana?
Unfortunately, no. You know, yesterday I went to a number of pharmacies trying to get one
No
to show,
dental dam.
and I couldn't get one.
Wow.
Even the female condom, I couldn't get one in like 4 pharmacies.
Okay.
I was like, oh, is it? So when you take, for instance, the male condom, you cut the closed end, then you cut the side into 2, becomes like a rectangle. You can use it as a dental dam.
Okay.
I don't know if we can get the picture with the green.
Okay, so this is a green picture.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, this one.
So what is? I want to show the right way to apply a condom. Penile mannequin.
A mannequin.
That's the term for it.
Yes, so it's like a mannequin of the
Okay,
penis.
so a wooden penis.
Yes, a wooden penis.
All right.
Yes.
Okay.
So when you have a condom, you first of all have to make sure that before you apply a condom, you apply a condom on an erect penis. So you don't apply a condom on a flaccid penis.
It can't even happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you pick your condom, first of all, you have to check and make sure that there are no breaches in the packaging.
Please remove one for me so I can be following you.
Yeah. So there are no breaches in your packaging. So you check your packaging, make sure that there are no holes anywhere, no tears anywhere. Then you look at the writing. Usually there's a manufacturing date, expiring date.
Yeah, it's right there.
You always have to check the expiry date. So this one you see it's expiring in 2027.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be expired.
Okay.
Now, once you've confirmed that your condom is not expired, you don't open it with a scissors, you don't open with your teeth, because there's a chance that you may end up puncturing the condom, and then it loses the effectiveness. So you see that it's easy to open with the rims at the edges.
Yeah.
So you just tear it gently, okay? When you tear it gently, when you bring your condom out, okay, you'd see that there is one part that has something popping out, a little, at the tip. Good. So you grab this tip, and you see that now our rim should be outside. This is our rim, okay? Yes. Now, you see that I'm pinching the tip. So you pinch the tip because you need to create space for where the semen will be collected.
Yes.
Then now you apply it to the penis, like that.
Okay.
Then you just roll it down gently. Just roll it down all the way to the base of the penis. This is like the testis.
The balls.
So, yes. So this is like the base of the penis. So you just roll it, and then that is it.
Okay.
Then we are good to go.
We're good to go. After the excitement and the glory and the ejaculation,
yes,
what happens?
Excitement and the glory and the ejaculation, like we said, you just take it off gently again.
You the owner of the penis is doing it. Or?
Whether the owner of the penis or the partner, any of you can do it. Whichever one you want to go for.
Okay.
Yes. You take it off gently again.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then you discard it in your bin.
What is the correct way to discard a used condom?
Great. So some people would go and flash it in their latrines, which is not advisable. You discard it like any other plastic.
Why shouldn't I flash it in the latrine?
Because you can end up clogging your latrine, depending on the number of condoms you are using.
And then a plumber will come and then he will say, this is what I've seen, Omasa. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So you can discard it like any other plastic.
Okay.
So some people will choose to tie it because they don't want the seminal fluid to come out.
Right.
So anyway, you just make sure that you discard it nicely in a bin.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let me also try.
Okay. Pinch the tip.
Pinch it, brother.
Yeah. Then you roll.
Then we roll.
Yeah. Great. To the base of the penis.
Hip hip hooray. And then when the action is over, roll it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't worry. So come off.
And then?
Yeah.
And then,
you can tie it and then discard it.
Throw it away.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Now, there are different types of condoms that some people, there are latex condoms, some of them are made with polyurethane, some are made with polyisoprene. Some people are allergic to the latex.
What happens to them when they wear it?
Some people have itchiness, some people have some burning sensation just because they are allergic to latex. So those people can use the polyurethane, which is also common. And then again, the condoms, we have different thickness. Some people will say, when I use a condom, I don't feel the sensitivity I want to feel. There are thin condoms, there are thick condoms. So depending on the sensitivity you are looking for, you can choose whatever you want to go for, whether a very thin one or a thick one.
But isn't a thin one going to reduce the barrier level?
No. It will do the same job as a thick one.
Okay.
To do the same job.
Right.
Now, some people too will be tempted to go and try using both a male and female condom because they want double protection. No. Because when you do both, the friction that goes on can actually give them a higher propensity to actually tear.
Okay.
So you don't do both, you do just one.
All right.
I think we have a picture of the female condom as well that we can see. The female condom, okay, great.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
How does it work?
So it has an open end and then a closed end.
Just like a male condom?
Yeah. But just that the closed end has like a ring, which you just hold on. I think there's a second picture which shows how it's inserted.
Okay.
So you just insert it gently, and then sexual activity goes on. You take it out after. The female condom, interestingly, you can apply it like 8 hours even before the activity.
So it can be there on standby.
For 8 hours, for standby. Yeah, so maybe you're expecting something to happen and you don't want to spoil the excitement of the moment. You can put it on before your partner comes from wherever they are coming from, and then you can still go on with whatever you want to do.
All right.
And then I have to mention that every condom is used just once. So if you are going to have more than one round of sexual activity, you can't use the same condom. You have to change.
It's not wash and wear?
No.
Okay.
You have to change as many times as you want to go.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. What is that? It looks like a hat.
Oh, this is actually a mannequin for the female reproductive organ, the vagina.
Okay.
So, for instance, if we had a female condom, I would have showed you. See that the close ring would hold it gently, and then we insert it. Okay. Then it goes through. Then we have the bigger ring outside, which will just be open, covering this place. Then the penis goes.
So this is where that guy goes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with the female condom, the interesting thing is that you have to be careful when you are doing your penetration, because sometimes the penis can pass behind the condom and, wrong entry. Exactly. So you have to ensure that the entry is into the condom and not at the side.
Charlie, sex has become so technical.
Yeah.
Just one enjoyment. If you go through all this, but then of course you don't want to get STDs.
Yes, you have to protect yourself.
All right. Female condoms, how common are they? You say they're not common in Ghana?
Honestly, I think that a lot of people don't use female condoms. Because like I said yesterday, I was looking for some. I couldn't even find some myself. And even in our family planning unit, I went there. I was trying to get one. I couldn't even get one. So it tells you that it's not very common.
Yeah.
But it can be used, okay? Especially for the females. Sometimes you need to take initiative to protect yourself.
Yeah.
I think the women, like I said, women have most of the bad complications when it comes to STD. So you need to protect yourself. Yeah.
What about the guys who want to wear 2 condoms?
No, there's no need to wear 2 condoms. If you have 1 condom which is not torn, not expired, it can do the job. You don't need to wear 2. Because if you wear 2, you are rather going to have a higher risk of actually breaking because of the friction between the 2 materials.
Okay. I wonder whether we have any messages. If you want to send us any messages, though, it's 055-556-1034. 055-556-1034. STDs and stigma. Talk to me about that. Great.
Now, STDs have a lot of stigma. You'd see that there are lots of people with STDs who don't even want to come to the hospital. I had one gentleman come. He has had an STD for like 2 years. He kept taking over-the-counter medication just because he was shy to come and sit in front of somebody and tell them that I did something and now I have an infection. So STDs have a lot of stigma. I think it shouldn't be so. STD should be like any other health condition. If you have a problem, you come and see a medical practitioner. We take a history, we do examination, we do some labs. If we diagnose whichever STD you have, interestingly, for the bacterial ones, for instance, some of them, it's just 1 dose of medication you need and you're good to go. Take something like syphilis. It's just 1 dose of the medication you need to take, and then that's the end. If you take something like the fungal infection, it's just 1 dose of medication you need. So it's important that we make people very comfortable talking about sexual health, because if we are discriminating and stigmatizing these people, they will just end up with complications. Some women will end up with cervical cancer because they don't want to go and lie there for anybody to screen them and all that. So it's important that we let people become very comfortable. I think everyone should take their own health into their hands. Forget what people have to say. At the end of the day, if you have complications, it's your problem. So you should forget about what people will say and get yourself checked. Indeed. You're watching GTV Breakfast. We're looking at sexually transmitted diseases, and my guest is Dr. Esther Yesuto Agbozo. She's a medical doctor at Wejakbawe Municipal Hospital. We found out the right way to wear a condom. Please bring the penis. and the way to dispose of it. Yeah. What are some of the myths around STDs and condoms that you hear a lot? Yeah. So some of the myths that you'd hear about STDs is that STDs can only happen to people who are promiscuous, which is not true. Because like I said, you may not be promiscuous, but if your partner is, you can end up with an STD. And then some people also would say that condoms do not provide any protection. It's been proven that they can give up to 98% protection, which is very high. So you have just a 2% chance of having an STD if you are using a barrier method. And then again, some people also believe that STDs are not treatable. Like I said, some of them are not treatable, that's the truth. But even with those that are not, in fact, let me use the word curable. Even with those that are not curable, there are treatment options available to minimize it. Because we take something like HIV, even though we know there is no cure for HIV, we have antiretroviral medications which can reduce your viral load so that you can live a very free life like any other person. Can you still have sex though? Yes. There are people who have HIV, they are having sex without protection because their viral load is so low that they can't transmit to somebody else. Are they having babies? Yes, you can have babies. Once your viral load is controlled, you can go on with your life like any other person. Okay. And then most of the STDs are actually treatable. The bacterial ones, for instance, the chlamydia, the gonorrhea, the syphilis, are very treatable. If you do not treat, then that's when you have issues. You can become infertile if you're not treating. You can become infertile. Which ones? Syphilis? Syphilis can do that. Gonorrhea can do that. Chlamydia can do that. And then even for syphilis, for instance, when syphilis has stages, about 4 stages. In the last stage, the tertiary stage, if you don't treat it, you can actually end up with neurological symptoms like blindness, deafness. Wow. Yes. So these STDs have some serious complications, and so it's important that if you have any symptom at any point in time, just get yourself checked and treated. Are people less scared of AIDS now? People are actually less scared. They are like, oh, yeah, terrible, But the truth is, like I said, the prevalence is on the rise. Every day we are seeing more and more people with HIV. So it tells you that HIV is on the rise. And the truth is, it's not written on anybody's forehead. You saw 4 last week? Just a single day. I saw 4 in a single day. Are you the one who broke the news with them? Yes, sir. What were their reactions? They will end up crying, the women especially. They will break down in the consulting room, cry. You have to console them, encourage them that, that is not the end of the road. It's not a hopeless situation. There are medications available that can help you manage. And all these women were married? Yeah, they were all married. How about the man? When you told him, what did he say? Men try to be hard guys. So when you say, he's just like, he wasn't talking, Wow. But you can tell that he's trying to process everything that you are telling him. So sometimes you have to give them some time to process everything that you've said. Some people will even be in denial. They won't accept the diagnosis. So sometimes they may want to repeat the test. They repeat the test a number of times, and it is still positive. Then some people will still go on and not even take the medication because taking the medications are actually, a little cumbersome. So some people don't want to take it, but it's important that if you do get the diagnosis, we know it is difficult, but you need to accept it and then get treated. Yeah.
Okay, so that's our conversation here. Brief one on sexually transmitted diseases with Dr. Esther Yesuto Agbozo. I know you're on Instagram. It's Eya_medical_consult. At Eya_the medic. So look for her on IG and get in touch if you have any questions concerning not just STDs. And we're talking about, she doesn't talk about sex all the time. She talks about other stuff as well, don't you?
Yeah, even yesterday I was talking about headaches. So I talk about other stuff.
Yeah. From sex to headaches. I mean, come on. Sex can be a headache too if you don't take care.
Yeah.
Maybe so. All right. So that's our conversation. More power to you. But do the right thing at the right time. Use the condom. Otherwise, it will go good for you.
If it's not on, it's not in.
And as a proud Vandal, I hold this with all energy, vigor, and vim. Shout outs to the Vandals. Hold them.
Welcome. There's a lot going on. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. The Vandals are playing in the studio today. You would be amazed who is behind our camera. It's not our cameraman. It's not Joshua. It's actually Kafuide holding the props from the BFS clinic. The Vandals are playing.
Just imagine what I'm looking at right now. I'm so happy.
It's right there on our camera. Kafuide, greetings, people. Welcome to the social media corner. All things trending.
Yeah.
So, Galamsey issues.
Yes.
Galamsey issues are top in the trends. And
we had an interesting conversation at the end of the show yesterday.
Yes, yesterday, and people are seeing the real cost and the true cost of Galamsey. And God, there's a lot happening behind the camera.
You caught that look, huh? Anyway, so still on the Galamsey fight. Hey, what is happening here? Okay, so
yes.
We have pictures, and remember those children were jumping into the rivers and everything. How does it feel for them to bath in this lake and, this river, and if it can still be called a river and all?
So it's just like a ripple effect of what Galamsey illegal mining activities are causing. And so across social media, across Ghana, everybody is devastated seeing these videos. Look how innocent they are jumping into the water. So
these are children who are playing in the River Bonsa in the Western region. So these are them, having a hearty time. But then again, it shows you that
So this is the bird's eye view of what the river Bonsa looks like from the western region. So the same river that the children were jumping into, this is it from the bird's eye view. This is what it looks like from up. And so the debate as to who is causing it, we are looking for lasting solutions.
Yes, we want solutions. And now parliamentarians have joined the fray.
Yep.
So the defense minister...
Look at it. This looks like it's like tea. It's like coffee, real creamy coffee.
Well, we have the red tea, we have, a number of colorful teas. And then in Ghana, we have...
Let's stop joking.
They have brown tea, basically. This is terrible.
So the future is now, people. This is what it looks like. And when the debate started and the video started going viral and people started talking about it, people were like, oh, who is to blame, who is to blame? Some people said the parliamentarians.
But is that what we should focus on, like who is to blame? Let's just find solutions for it.
But if you don't cut the head of the snake, how would you, come on.
It's like a Hydra kind of situation. You cut one off and then like 3 pop up and more.
So you know how the debate started and then people were like, parliamentarians, it be you people get the money, it be you people they fund the people, and then we heard that some of the illegal miners also fund some political campaigns, activities, events, and whatnot. So the fight entered Parliament and
debate.
The NDC, yes, the NDC side and the MPP side, as usual, were at it. So first from. Mr. Dompre, Honorable Dompre, so he shared, so here's the video of what it looks like in Parliament. First, the NDC side, and then the MPP side, and then we'll see what the Speaker said.
Listen, and I'm very happy when the minority leader challenged us that we will debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. In fact, we are ready to debate now. If we are to look and investigate both sides of the house, you have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us. So let's get matters straight.
Speaker, this is as a result of Galamsey. And he is the Minister for Defense. The President of State is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So if the President has failed, he should admit so. And if he has failed as a Minister for Defense in tackling Galamsey, he should admit so. It is wrong for him to cast insinuations and aspersions and creating impressions that somebody is making political statement. The executive power of state is with the President, and you are the Minister for Defense. If you can tell us that you cannot deploy the military to stop Galamsey, but you can deploy the military to stop the exportation of maize, and so we should clap for you. Mr. Speaker, the issues we are talking about, they are serious issues.
And so the fight has entered Parliament.
Debate.
Then the debate as to who caused Galamsey and who is going to solve it stands. But then the Speaker spoke, and we like how he shut all of them down. That's it.
The Speaker spoke. I like that.
If we take census, some of you will be there. And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware. They are aware that some of you are participating in it. So please, first, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at.
Yeah. So the Speaker calling everyone out. Special shout out to Channel One News, or should I still say City?
Yes, City.
Yeah, City, for those videos over there.
And shout outs to GTV's parliamentary correspondents as well. Shout outs to you. Okay, so to our next trend, O'Reilly is in the trend for all the wrong reasons. So a student, an 18-year-old student,
final year student
was stabbed by another final year student over a fight as to whose dad is wealthier. It's not even what caused the fight, but how is an 18-year-old going to school? How do you have a knife on you? you know, when we say we are copying the foreign culture wrongly, you know, when it happens, they say, oh, they are going to school, stabbings and all that. All the sick uncle school,
those things don't happen in Ghana, you know. It's like they say we are a third world country.
Well, he has been arrested. He has been arrested by police, and investigations are ongoing. But here is a sketchy video of when, you know, he was being transported. We can't show that, but his dad spoke yesterday to TV3.
To TV3,
so here's his dad's, here's his dad's take.
What happened?
What happened was yesterday, I see my boy off to come to school. So I was not to go to work. So I'm at work and my niece called me that Edward is having misunderstanding. One of the students is having misunderstanding with Edward. So I should come. And so I asked her that, are there not teachers at the school? And she said the teachers are not sitting there unconcerned. And what is happening is unfair, so I should come. So I said, okay, then I'm coming. So on my way, when I got to the motorway, she called that the boy that is fighting with Edward, I've stopped Edward, lying down at the school premises, breathing. And the teachers are still sitting unconcerned. I said, wow. Then I said, I'm coming. So on my way, when I get to Kotobabi, she called again that there is the students have gathered themselves and pick him up. So they are going to Lekma. So I should rather come to Lekma and meet them there. So when I drove and I reached Lekma, I went to the emergency. The doctor said Edward had passed away. And that is it. So when they showed me the body, the boy stabbed him 3 times on his chest. So that led him to his death. That's all.
What have the school authorities been telling you?
The school authorities have not said anything from yesterday up to now. The police have not caught, the school authorities have not caught. Even the boy who killed my son, none of the family have even reached me. That's why we are here to seek for justice for my son.
What intentions do you have going forward?
We want access from the school. From the school authority.
The parent of the boy.
And the parent of the boy. And the police. What happened? I just want to know what happened. To the extent of leading to a student stabbing his friend. That's all we want. We want the justice. And we want the school authority to explain to us. Either the teachers are not at the school and it happened, or they are there and it happened, or they don't care. That is all we want. We want access from the school authority. That's all we want.
May justice prevail and may it so rest in
like it's sad.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
So we will have some answers, but what were the teachers doing? What was happening? Like, what were they doing? Because from the reports from a cousin of the deceased, they said that there was a fight and the teachers were sat there
doing nothing.
Well, condolences to the family, but the police have arrested the murderer, and so we'll bring you updates when there are updates. So that's why O'Reilly is in the trends.
Yeah, so moving on from O'Reilly, Ms. V is previewing her new video, Peace of Mind. The main music video drops tomorrow, but for now, here's a snippet, a promo for the new song, Peace of Mind.
Easy. Big girl coming for the big pansala. Everything I do, no they beat my style. Right to the beats, no they beat my brother.
Yeah.
Enjoying Davi's vibes. Peace of mind it is.
Peace of mind. We are enjoying that piece of promo. And then speaking about promo and everything, the main music video drops tomorrow. But for now, we'll just tease you with this. Watch the GTV breakfast and we'll premiere right here.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Davi is back.
Yeah. Oh, she is.
She's back. Yeah.
And speaking about music and all the new music, new albums and everything, Kweku Smoke is also in the trends for his new album, Born in Hell. And you know the title of the album?
Born in Hell.
I have to ask him, does it mean born in Ghana or born in Africa? That's why he's saying Born in Hell. What's he saying? What does he mean? Yeah, exactly. Like, what does he mean? What does he mean?
So that's the lineup.
The track listing for Born in Hell.
First one is Holy Ghost, Born in Hell. Ooh,
yes,
Holy Ghost.
And you know the Holy Ghost, the promo video making the rounds right now. He's living up to the Kweku Smoke brand. You know, he was sitting in the car with the cigar in his hand and everything.
Yeah, with MJ and all of that. Not TV friendly Kweku Smoke.
Exactly.
Second one there is Born in Hell. Number 3 is cheddar, Charlie.
But cheddar means cheese, it means money. So depending, maybe we need to have a conversation with Kweku Smoke.
4 is no complaining.
Yeah. Number 5, you intentionally did this to me. Number 6, we have Higher. Number 7 is Regrets. Number 8 is My Youth. Now you want to
here. That's number 5. Number 6 is
You
Higher.
want to tell us what it means? Yeah.
Life matters. Life is what matters.
Hey, I won't put you on the spot, but Charlie today.
Number 6 is Higher. Number 7 is Regrets. Number 8 is My Youth. Number 9 is Dreams. I want to listen to Dreams.
Yeah.
Number 10 is Reserved Seat. Born in Hell, new album, Kweku Smoke, and the credits are on there. So in Kwane here was performed by Kweku Smoke himself and written by Paul Amankwa.
Okay, so yeah, basically his stage name is Kweku Smoke and his real name is Paul Amankwa. And if you look through it, you realize that Paul Amankwa wrote.
Like his alter ego performed the song, and then he wrote the song as Paul Amankwa. So Born in Hell. Let's go listen, update your playlist.
So the last song on the album, Reserved Seat, maybe that's Reserved Seat in Heaven. So Born in Hell, Reserved Seat in Heaven. You know what? We have to go to sports. I'm just casting aspersions and insinuations now. So let's go for sports.
The Ghana Football Association, Mr. Neil Armstrong Motagbe, has reiterated the Black Stars' preparedness ahead of match day 1 of the 2025 AFCON qualifiers. The senior national men's team will contend with Angola at the Baba Yara Stadium on Thursday.
The squad that Coach Otuado has called up would live up to expectation. For the last two qualifiers, we did see them go to Mali and get a result that pleased all Ghanaians against Central African Republic at the Baba Yara Stadium. They continued and won their back-to-back games. So for me, that gives us the hope that Otto has started well in terms of his competitive fixtures, and the expectation is that we would see a step up from what we saw at the Baba Yara a few weeks ago. I'm very, very hopeful that they will deliver. We expect them to deliver. Obviously, football is a game of uncertainties, but I believe that Coach Otuado and his technical team have assessed the squad that they called up. They saw the output of those that they called up the other time. Some of them got injured. Like you said, some injured ones have come back in there. But Otto always says that it's a work in progress. It's a project that is long-term for him now, or medium-term for him now. When he came the first time, it was a short-term project, and he had to adopt certain methods. With this one, it's a longer-term view. And at every time, he has said that the door is not closed to any player of the Black Stars or potential player of the Black Stars. So our belief is that they're very clear in their minds the project on which they're working. They know the expectations of Ghanaians. We've been to 2 AFCONs in the last few years, and results haven't gone our way. Ghanaians expect, and I believe that based upon the expectations of Ghanaians, Coach Otuado and his technical team will put together a team and a system that would give us all the belief that we're on the upward trajectory. While we're in Ghana at the moment, there's not been any information suggesting that the game will not come on at the Baba Yara. If it is that any such communication comes through, I'm sure the general public will be made aware of it. But as we speak, we don't have any communication to the contrary.
Well, we still stay on national team agenda, and this time to the camp of the U20 women's team. And after the national under-20 women's team lost 2-1 to Austria in their group opener at the World Cup, coach Yusuf Basigi has admitted that the team needs to work more on their attack. The team is making her 7th appearance at the world stage.
Slowly, and getting to the latter part of the first half, we started raising up our game, and for the second half, yes, we dominated play, getting to the latter part when we were down by a goal, and we didn't utilize many of our chances. We had many scoring chances that they had, but we could not utilize them, which was unfortunate. So I think that this is where we have to polish very well, so that we'll be able to be in contention. The second half performance was very good. If we had started the first half like the way we started our second half, that would have been super. They would have been down, but unfortunately we started slowly today, which is unfortunate. I wouldn't say that there's no pressure at all, a little bit, because if we had won this game or even drawn, that would have given us a bit sort of motivation. But now we have no option than to go all out with the remaining 2 games to go.
Now, the Sports Writers Association of Ghana has officially unveiled their new state-of-the-art secretariat at the Accra Sports Stadium. The office will aid in administrating the association as well as provide conducive environment for members on match days.
The ceremony was attended by top dignitaries from the sports and media industries, including officials from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, the National Sports Authority, the National Federations, Ghana Journalists Association, and other stakeholders. The new secretariat features modern facilities designed to meet the needs of SWAG members and the sports journalism community. President of SWAG, Mr. Kobna Yeboah, highlighted the significance of the new secretariat, saying the edifice represents a commitment to excellence in sports journalism, dedication to providing a conducive environment for members to thrive, and their quest to influence the development and promotion of sports in Ghana. The Ministry of Youth and Sports commended SWAG for its efforts in promoting sports development in Ghana. The National Sports Authority called on SWAG to collaborate more with them in development of sports. The opening of the Secretariat marks a significant step forward for sports journalism in Ghana in providing a world-class environment for Ghanaian sports journalists.
In other stories, Nigeria's Eniola Bolaji broke all manner of records to win Nigeria's first medal at the ongoing Paralympic Games in badminton. She became the first African player to win a medal in badminton at either the Olympics or the Paralympics. She's the first African player to win a match at the Paralympics, and she is the first African player to go the farthest in badminton at either the Olympics or the Paralympics and making the semifinals. And she is the only player ever to win any medal for Nigeria in badminton. Well, in some other stories, Ugandan athlete Rebecca Cheptegei is in critical condition in a Kenyan hospital after allegedly being dosed with petrol and set on fire by a former boyfriend. The 33-year-old marathon runner who competed at the recent Paris Olympics had suffered extensive burns, the doctor treated her had said. She was attacked at her home in Western Kenya, where she had been training. There are concerns about the increasing cases of violence against female athletes in Kenya, some of which have resulted in death. Ms. Cheptegei is said to have been rescued by neighbors after the incident that happened on Sunday at her home in a small town. She was returning from church with her 2 children when she was targeted. Ms. Cheptegei finished 44th in the marathon at the recent Paris Olympic Games. She also won gold at the World Mountain and Trail Running Championship in Thailand in 2022. In April 2022, another female runner, Damaris Mutau, was found strangled in her home with a pillow over her face in a Rift Valley town. It came months after record-breaking long-distance runner Agnes Tirop was found stabbed to death in the same town. And now Galatasaray have confirmed that they have signed Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen in various statements on their social media handles. It's also said that the 25-year-old on GTV Breakfast. But remember that tomorrow at 4 p.m. the Black Stars have an important AFCON qualifier against Angola. The game will be played in Kumasi at the Baba Yara Stadium. It will be live here on GTV Sports Plus, as well as GTV, Obonu TV, and Garden City TV. Then all our radio channels across the country will also be running commentary on this particular game. There's more sports on Studio 5 right after this break.
Coming live from the capital, this is The Breakfast Show.
I love President Charcoal. Why? When there are so many other charcoal toothpaste. That's both charcoal and lemon. Oh, does it? Yes. Look right here. Yes. Pepsodent Charcoal has 2 of nature's powerful whitening ingredients. With the power of activated charcoal and lemon essence, it removes stains and whitens teeth naturally. Convinced?
Well, I am. Just look at your beautiful Pepsodent smiles.
For naturally whiter teeth, Pepsodent Charcoal. Pepsodent.
lady, Mrs. Ellis, wonderful woman. 6 years, no increment to the rent. She just took her time with me. She was like a big sister to me. One love to you, Mrs. Ellis. Best landlady in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't go up. No, for 6 years.
Wow.
Yes, gave me a foundation to start my life.
That's it.
Salute to her. And for all of you landlords who are not like that, your reward is waiting for you here and in the next world. Headlines.
Guardian Times, outstanding releases to healthcare providers. NHIA set to pay 800 million Ghana cedis claim, disburses 400 million Ghana cedi today.
Demand your locked up funds. Mahama urges victims of DKM microfinance collapse.
Right. Dr. Bawumia woos voters in 4 constituencies in Greater Accra region.
Do not abuse provisions of Constitution. Speaker admonishes MPs as he recalls the House.
Yes, indeed. Okay, the Daily Graphic. Parliament recall drain on state coffers. Speaker assets.
CSOs Occupy Ghana demand enactment of Kopo bill.
Okay, the NHIA releasing the funds are there. So 487 arrested over suspected Ponzi scheme.
The breakdown was, I think, 250 females, 240, 50 males, and then 237 males.
Grabbed.
In Kumasi. Serious one. Police, good job.
Right. The Chronicle. That's it. Police swoop on suspected Ponzi scheme gangs. 487 arrested in Kumasi.
No be small. Ghana is on a perilous trajectory, says Nyahu Tabaklo.
NPP has delivered on its promises, said Kwame Champong, saying that Eastern Regional Minister.
Chidumasi chiefs petitioned NAPO over demolition of NPP financiers' home.
Okay. Of government official 1 and his night-day clubs. There's a story on page 14 of the Chronicle.
This one is a very powerful verse. Ephesians 5 verse 6. Let no one deceive you with empty words. For because of such things, God's wrath comes on those who are disobedient. So watch out for empty words. The wrath of God is waiting for them.
Amen.
Amen. All of us with empty words. Daily Guide.
Right. Backbing warns of Article 112, excessive use.
The Ponzi issues are in the news.
NHIA releases 400 million Ghana cedis to facilities. That's there as well.
I'm so sad about this one. O'Reilly students stabbed to death on campus.
How do you go to school with a knife?
DCE exposes NDC lies. So that's it. That's the Daily Guide this morning.
Final year students too. They've started writing their papers.
Oh.
Okay. The NDC plots to take over Ghana Bar Association as it backs convicted Sedinam Tamaklo's lawyer for president.
DRIP was entirely my idea. Bawumia schools Mahama.
Okay. Retract and apologize for mocking stutterers. Coalition of persons with disabilities to John Mahama.
Virgin Atlantic makes a strategic move
back to Ghana. Okay.
More headlines for you.
Okay. Dispatch. The constituency where no candidate has served as an MP for 2 terms since 1996. If you want to know, it's on page 12.
Yes, I can give you a teaser. The Adenta is like that. Every 4 years. Are we?
And like my area too. Yes.
2024 election, it's better to choose fresh leaders than go back for rejected ones. The man is Kofi Benton, who has openly supported Dr. Bawumia. So it's not as if he's a neutral of some sort. Yeah.
Okay, Mrs. Efua Gate likely to be elected as first female president of Ghana Bar.
Okay, that's a Daily Dispatch this morning. Daily Analyst.
Okay, murder at O'Reilly SHS. Student stabs colleague to death.
Too sad. GJA president fires Atachian. Demands public apology for MPP NP.
Okay, defending media freedom. Do more to protect journalists. IGP is urging.
Galamsey has moved from ordinary citizens to become a transnational organized crime. Profaning.
Nagrat Press commends Medina MP for celebrating teachers.
I'll be your servant leader, says Ekwadum Hini, as he pledges to his people. That's your daily analyst.
Okay, the Informer, alleged failure to prosecute Kufuor appointees. Stop the lies against Mills. NDC elders warn Spio Gabra.
2 fire, crusade against Galamsey as Arocha Ghana raises red flag. We spoke to them yesterday about this. Yeah.
Elections 2024. Let's preserve Ghana's peace. Baumia urges.
Come clear on free treasury policy. Edward to Mahama. That's your Informer right there.
Okay. More. A daily searchlight. Sinking the economy. Part 9 of Dodododotido. Ghana Airport Company yet to collect 33.8 million Ghana cedi debt.
Okay. In spite of debts, MPP commits Ghana to more expenses.
Wenchi Sports Stadium named after Nana Abrifa Kojo Inketia the
7th. Wow, what a long name for a stadium. All right. Climate change. Blameless Africa faces high burden and adaptation costs.
Okay. GTech engages leadership of tertiary institutions in quality tertiary practices at Maiden Summer School.
Well, a child dying on campus from a stab wound is definitely not quality, a quality experience in any school, in any country, in any part of the world. Yeah, and we'll explore that a little bit more. Yeah, about security. How safe is your child at school, really? You know? Yeah.
It's sad, man.
Yeah,
real sad.
It is. So you have NASA?
Yes, we are talking fashion. Later on.
And quick shout out to Mr. Joseph Tete. This is from your lovely daughter, Valencia. Celebrating your birthday today. And Mr. Joseph Tete, happy birthday to you from all of us here at GTV Breakfast. Salute. Bye-bye. It's the 4th of September 2024. CPP elects a flag bearer today. I'm sure there will be conversations on that later on. Parliament has been recalled. And before we get a bit of that, I just want to introduce my guests. Timothy Awuntrim Atabwade used to be a member of the Noble House. For Bulsa North, he represented them. He is with the NDC. In the middle is Movement for Change, Representative Henry Haruna Asante, and Mohammed Awal is a member of the National Communications Team for the NPP. Gentlemen, you're all welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want us to take us straight to Parliament because there's been a lot of action inside Parliament from our MPs. The Speaker accusing the majority of bad faith for the recall of the emergency sitting. And then reactions from both sides on the recall. They spoke a lot about Galamsey and who did what, when, how, and why. So take a listen to some of the clips from Parliament, and then we will come back and have a conversation right here on GTV Breakfast.
That we will debate this matter and the culprit will be mentioned. In fact, we are ready to debate now. If we are to look and investigate both sides of the house, you have had the opportunity to rule this country before. I can tell you, you polluted the water more than us. You polluted the water more than us. So let's get matters straight.
Speaker, this is as a result of Galamsey. and he is the Minister for Defense. The President of State is President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So if the President has failed, he should admit so. And if he has failed as a Minister for Defense in tackling Galamsey, he should admit so. It is wrong for him to cast insinuations and aspersions and creating impressions that somebody is making political statement. The executive power of state is with the President, and you are the Minister for Defense. If you can tell us that you cannot deploy the military to stop Galamsey, but you can deploy the military to stop the exportation of maize, and so we should clap for you. Mr. Speaker, the issues we are talking about, they are serious issues. Our livelihood is threatened.
The honorable members of parliament who represent you and me in the Noble House, comparing who polluted the waters more than each other. Are you impressed by those statements? You support them? You think it's ridiculous? Let us know, 055-556-1034. Speaker also spoke about the recall of the House. Let's hear his comments.
If we take census, some of you will be there. Who are those participating in the Galamsey? If we take census, some of you will be there. And the people you are talking to are aware. It's not that they are not aware, they are aware that some of you are participating in it. So please, first, desist from doing it yourself. Don't go to them for the money for your campaigns. Don't go to solicit their votes. Let them see you work. Truly, it's a disgrace that we've gone to this far. Look at the water. Horrible.
Mr. Speaker, are we talking about this water? Because it's also equally horrible. Yeah, this is it. That's the water from the Pra. Gentlemen, I'll start with the NPP and the NDC reps here. So, who polluted more?
Thank you so much.
Who polluted more? I'm just curious.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Good morning to our cherished viewers and good morning to my fellow panelists. It's been a while that I've seen Honorable. I think it's unfortunate that we even talk about who polluted more or who didn't pollute, because at the end of the day, it is the pollution of our water bodies. But I think when you pick only that argument from the fact that Anodom said you polluted more than us, he was trying to tell how during the NDC time there was a total neglect of the sector, to the extent that the Chinese had to really pollute our waters and so on. You remember between 2012 and 2016, the Chinese were at liberty to enter into this country at will, because they get their visa on arrival. So they come in droves. And if you have an agreement that says that you get visa on arrival, it is quite difficult for someone to be denied entry when the person is at Kotoka International Airport. So we had a lot of the Chinese coming. There is a commitment by this government to fight it. It started from 2017 when we came. There was a suspension of all small-scale mining operations across the country, and we had to take over 2,400 of the small-scale miners to UMAT to train them on how to do responsible mining. And after that, their licenses were given back to them, and they went back, and the pollution started again. Then we had to devise another strategy by operation, a lot of operations by the police service. Some, at a point in time, we had to really burn excavators just to really deter people. We started confiscating. Later, we had to even burn them, because you get to the place, then the person will take the control board. They will be there working in the morning. at night, when you get there in the morning, they will just take the control board and the machine becomes useless. You cannot seize it, you cannot do anything. So the military took the decision that let's burn it so that the person cannot come back to it, because later when you leave it, the person comes back to it and start it and pick it from the place. That also didn't work out. And even though we had chalked some successes, at least in terms of getting to hear a lot of people are dead, trapped in a pit and so on, that really ceased. Initially, you hear that 10 people trapped in a pit, 5 people trapped in a pit, and so on. So those doing it are the small scalers. Majority of them usually are the small scalers. So going forward, from our experience from 2017 up to today, when you check on page 195 of our manifesto, Dr. Bawumia is saying that we have to chart a new path. And in charting a new path, what we'll do is that we'll make sure that we don't give licenses to people to do prospecting in forest reserve and anywhere. The Geological Survey Department will be given the opportunity to do all the surveying so that they will know where the minerals are. When they know where the minerals are, if it is Manson Kwanta or Chufo Praso, then they get there, they activate the community mining for the people. They involve the chief, the stakeholders of the community. Then they give them the mining license and they will mine responsibly so that at least they will not pollute their own water. A lot of the people complain that those who come there to do are people who are not from the place. So it's quite one of the reasons they can destroy the water and leave it like that. And again, after giving them the license, we'll establish the Minerals Development Bank, where the Minerals Development Bank will finance their activities by importing in gold catchers and some few other implements without necessarily using this chamfine, which will be used to destroy the water. So after they get the gold, the state will buy it, then we'll put it into the gold for oil and gold for reserve. So you use one stone to kill about 3 birds by preventing them from doing it. Now you know who is doing mining in an area. If there is even a destruction of the water body, you know that the chiefs and the assembly members and the stakeholders in the village are responsible and so on. So this is really the surest way that Dr. Bawumia feels that we should be able to really get to the end of it, because we have the benefit of the hindsight of from 2017, the strategies that we've been using that is not working.
All right. Thank you so much, Mohammed Awal. Timothy Atabwade, I mean, is that where it's come to now, where people are, you guys are, your representatives in the House? I mean, that was your former office. Yeah. Okay, I polluted, but you polluted more than me. I mean, is that really what the Ghanaians want?
Kafi, let me say good morning, and good morning to Henry Asante and to my brother Awal Mohammed and our cherished viewers out there. You see, it is mind-boggling and very nauseating that on the floor of Parliament, members of this ruling government as an MP could stand on his feet and say that, look, you polluted more than me. So you polluted, only that we did more than you. When the president put his presidency online and said that if it were me, he has to sacrifice his presidency, he would do it, then you come and stand. He has disappointed the people of this country. People are suffering. Pregnant women are giving birth to deformed children. The University of Science and Technology have even got evidence to show this. And all you can say on the floor of Parliament is that you polluted more than me. Why do we change governments? We change government because we feel that the previous government had not done satisfactorily. And we need a new hand to come and then take over and to ensure that all the resources of this country are managed to the benefit of all and not to the detriment of almost all of us in this country. There are people in this country who have never seen a gold mine, who has never gone nearer there, yet they are suffering from the dangers of galamsey, the cyanide and other chemical that is used. Their waters are polluted daily. In fact, Ghana Water Company is complaining that even areas like Cape Coast and so on, they can no more, it's becoming a daunting task to purify the water for consumption. And all you do, instead of when you are on your feet, you prefer solutions to them. This is how it has gotten to. It has gotten to this because the blame game. You are not taking responsibility for anything in this country. All what this government, including its appointees and members of parliament, are doing is that they keep blaming everybody except they alone. Name it, every sector they've destroyed, they keep blaming people. They even went as far as blaming Ukraine, Russia for what is happening in Ghana. When the president was there begging for grains, he went to Ukraine begging for grains. 500 excavators that you seized got missing. You bought drones. Who licensed the Chinese to go to the forest? Are we really fighting? And you see, to fight a cancerous issue, you need to be bold and take decisions, no matter whose horse is God. Because when you have a government that is filled with friends and family and all their aim is to loot the resources of this country, that is where we have gotten to. Look at Akunta Mining. Akunta Mining owned by Wontumi. The regional chairman, who should be supporting the government rather, is berserk all in the forest doing what he can. With guns, pump action guns, threatening the locals, threatening chiefs. We were here when the Frimpong Boateng report told us that even the president's own house, Galamsey was dug there, and they removed gold and quickly vegetated the area. We were here when Major Muhammad died as a result of Galamsey. Must I remind people of what it has taken us? And I like Babin's speech, what he said. Today, as we talk, we're in a chaotic situation in terms of our forests, in terms of our lands, and so on. The waters are polluted beyond recognition. It must be sad that for 8 years, because President Nana Addo Dankwa, when he was a candidate, went to Chebi and said that, look, he's coming, they say he's coming to Council Galamsey. He's not coming to Council Galamsey. He's coming to strengthen, he said that, me bejina mukina. As in me Bible check Galamsey, Mudavi. We saw the Charles BC issues. Today he has gone to be a parliamentary candidate. He's coming to parliament. In some areas, you are not even qualified to go near a governors again. How much more the legislature? In some areas, yeah. If you have done so much damage to the environment, even environmentalists will campaign against you. You were secretary to that, and most of these things were attributed to you. We saw you on tapes taking money and so on. We can go on the litany of issues, the destruction. Innocent people sitting somewhere are being affected. Our cocoa farms. What hasn't been the issues? It's a sad day that is a member of parliament, especially a front bench fellow, would get up and say, you polluted more than me. Really? So if I stole, you only come and say that, you stole more than me. If I kill, you kill more than me. Is that how we resolve matters? And I think that this government must be serious and take the people. Look, during that time, most people who were having excavators, some of them died. Monies were seized. Gold dust was seized. A lot of things were seized. How do we account for all these things? How do we account for them? The soldiers were deployed. We saw soldiers on telephone, on what do you call it? On handsets, calling people, calling those who send them there, that this is what is happening. You send the soldiers there, you make them impotent to act. Just a smoke screen telling the world, oh, I'm working on the issue, while behind the scenes, you are the main. When we're sleeping at night, they were seriously digging the forest. They were seriously mining, even in forest reserves. Can you imagine that? Galamsey pit swallowed 2 twins. We've seen people's houses collapsing. We've seen people in this country, not that they don't know, in their homes digging. Galamsey, as the report showed on one of your sister stations, that they brought this video tapes. The evidence is replete out there.
The Ghanaian is looking for solutions.
What? You want to take over the show. So for me, I think that they failed miserably, and for us in our manifesto, resetting Ghana for jobs, prosperity, and accountability, and equally ensuring that we hold people accountable. We've stated in clear terms how we are going to deal. One of the regulatory services and regulatory and license processes to artisanal farm and ensure that you enforce the law. The problem about this was enforcement. It's miners to pollute the waters. Like the speaker said, not that the people don't know, the people know. You think that if I'm digging gold in Sanwa, the people don't know that team is involved? They know. All the people they know in the various areas who are behind them. Who doesn't know that Akunta miners for whom to me, the regional chairman or the NPP? Who does not know that? Everybody knew this thing. Yet even before the investigations were done, the president cleared him and said there was nothing wrong. People go and take prospecting licenses under the guise of going to prospect. And they finally find themselves in a reserve forest digging galamsey. It is sad, but I think that Parliament must do more. I think that where we have gotten to, the MPP has completely lost it. They don't have the wherewithal to be able to combat the galamsey menace, because they themselves have been involved from the presidency down to almost everybody. We heard the former minister for Haji Halima Mahama saying that she knows and they know that some of the DCs are involved in the galamsey businesses across the country. And as of now, no one can tell that they do not know those who are involved. Kafu, as I talked to you this morning, go to Mankraso and Asante region. You will see the what do you call the Chinese people renting all the beautiful houses, holding AK-47 pump machine guns, going gladly. You can call the DC and put him online. This morning, as I talk to you, just now, they are there digging. Who doesn't know? The DCs are aware, the MPs are aware. Go to Mankraso just right now. You see them there, dotted across the place. And you know what they do? Sometimes because of the heat, they'll tell, look, can you imagine that this Chinese went to Mankraso and said they were coming to teach Ghanaians how to plant cocoa, how to plant cassava. And you know what they do? They come under the guise of that and later on move into the forest. So the whole of Mankraso is like day. When you go, you see the motorbikes moving into the forest. It's not in the night. This morning, you go and see them eating wache, preparing to go and dig. With the Chinese people standing. And Ghanaians are holding pump action gun and who are their bodyguards? The DC is aware. The DC of he is aware. The MP is aware. So it is not an issue of who polluted more. Obviously, the people of, look, in our time, did we see 500 excavators? What were the 500 excavators doing in the coal producing areas? If you come, just make them up. Did we seize 500 excavators?
All right, on that rhetorical question, thank you so much, Mr. Tabwade. I'm going to now hand over to Mr. Henry Haruna Asante. I mean, watching as a movement that doesn't have any result in Parliament, when you listen to MPNDC doing their thing in Parliament, blaming themselves left, right, now also telling us what they will do should they come to power, I'm sure you want to stop them because you want to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? Thank you very much. I listened to my colleagues, and they're quite interesting and funny. Let me put it that way. Interesting in the sense that at this age and time, we are blaming either house. Okay? That's very interesting. I'll ask myself. I remember a friend of mine, a German friend asked me, he'd been hearing of galamsey, what does it mean? So I took it upon myself to find out where from that word. And it's interesting, if you clearly understand where it's coming from, it's from the local parlance. Clearly meaning gather and sell, if I'm right. Gather and sell.
That's true.
So then gather what and sell what? I ask myself, gather what and sell what? Clearly it means illegal mining. Illegal mining in the sense that not the concept of mining is a problem, but the process. You go to other jurisdictions. I happen to be in Zimbabwe, South Africa. Is there? But you see, you regulate it. You can't stop people from living. But then if there are regulatory bodies regulating this thing, we wouldn't get to where we are today. It saddens me so much sometimes if I look at the effort the committee, Freeport Martins Committee, a very powerful guy. The man brought a report in 2019 when it was set up. And according to him, I will listen to him attentively. He said he submitted
his mandate was not renewed.
But whatever. He left a report.
He didn't leave a report. He sent the report later after.
But at least at the end of the day, what is important is that he submitted. It was submitted. Okay? Let's say it was belated, but it was submitted. I agree. If it was submitted, what effort was made to make sure that what he has seen or said is investigated? Before the police investigation even came in, if you recall, the Attorney General brought up a report. Okay? Damning everything said by the man. He mentioned names. He mentioned names of authorities, people who were doing that thing, and that was part of his government. People in his government were implicated, and nothing was done, and nothing has been done till date. Naturally, if these are the issues that we are facing today, then we are yet to see worse things that we are seeing today. Believe you me, I was going to Takoradi, the Biposo River, whatever, the bridge. Gosh, Kafi, let me frank with you, your water, you clear better. Cleaner. Get to Takoradi, the Biposo Bridge, between Cape Coast and Takoradi. So I was asking myself, these things, hasn't got the water body, hasn't got a source. There's a source. Naturally, if you go to the source, you see where the pollution is starting from. So if you have any government that is seriously in tune to stop this Galamsey, I believe my president should have bowed his head in shame and resign from office. Sincerely speaking, because he made me to trust him, believe him, that if he's not able to stop this menace, naturally he'll put his job on the line. Did he say it or he didn't say it? Unless maybe I'm trying to misquote him, or I didn't understand what he clearly meant by what he said. But if
he did say it, though.
Absolutely.
Yes. So but the question is, did he draw the line?
He didn't draw the line. So when is he going to resign? Is he waiting till the last day and then resign? It's a failure. He has failed in that perspective. Do you agree or you don't agree? Unless you don't agree with me. Because if whether he set a timeline or not, you have assured me, told me probably I voted for him because of that statement. Probably. Now, where we are, you see, we are playing with people's life. It's serious. If you are taking the pain, you mentioned a town in Ashanti. What is the name of the town? Mankrasu. Kafi, I wish you would be there.
I'm happy you were there.
I have been there. It's crazy. You see them in the morning. Over 500
motorbikes.
On motorbikes, moving to and fro. And they come home happily. Look, nobody can stop them. Nobody can stop them. Yet we have a government in place.
You can send your cameras there. Just
I'm telling you,
morning.
It's an ISO. You see them going in the morning on motorbikes. Yes. You have to eat together at the junction and move to the fort. And so ask yourself, is that Ghana? Do we have leadership? Sometimes I keep asking myself, I don't think the leadership failure or systematic failure is what has gotten it away. And you have people defending this in quotes. Excuse my language. You have people defending this. It's sad. I don't want to use any filthy words this morning. It's not the best, actually. We're on set. But if we have a leadership, we have a president, we have sector ministers who are supposed to be doing this. Look, in losing Frimpong Boateng, I think we lost the battle. The man was very explicit. He told the whole world the truth. Because what fascinates me is the fact that before the police even could come into the investigative body, as an investigative body, the Attorney General has brought up a report condemning everything written by this man. Oh God, what kind of country are we living in? No, I don't think any right-thinking member of this society should entertain this government any longer. Yeah, no wonder. We are where we are today. Galamsey did not start today. It started in the 18th century. But it was, if this is the way Galamsey was done from onset, okay, what we call Galamsey, I don't think we would have been. Growing up, I remember that we used to fetch water on the streams. On stream, you see this leaf falling on in rivers. We go in Cape Coast. I school in Cape Coast. When we go there, you see everything was in order. We go to prayer, so as clean as one can think of, we fetch them with leaves and drink. Those were the days. Today, we have a government who is to safeguard our interests, that of the country, besides the loss of revenue in this illegal activity. Nobody's saying they shouldn't do it, but regulate them so that the government will be getting it. We have a long way to go. I don't know why people should be defending this, saying that you did more harm than I did. Oh God. It's just like you crossing traffic light and you were not caught and I was caught. All right? Then I would tell the police that, why didn't you arrest Kafi? What logic is that? For the fact that he did worse and you are doing less, does it justify the act?
the reality is that the act is wrong. It's very, very sad.
I'll give you a breather so that you can compose your thoughts. From Monday, it's been Galamsey every single day, and rightly so, because it's an existential threat to the survival of our own country. Your thoughts on this? And please, when you're asking your questions, direct them to the specific people so that they can get responses from them. 055-556-1034. Galamsey is a big issue, but another big one too has to do with safety in our secondary schools, because it's just a tragic story that, if you haven't heard, I'm going to read to you right now. So there's been the death of an 18-year-old final year student from O'Reilly Senior High School here in Accra, who was stabbed on campus on Monday and pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. It has triggered a meeting between the Ghana Education Service and the management of the school over how discipline is maintained on campus. The victim, a general art student, was reportedly engaged in an argument with a schoolmate over whose father had more money. This happened after they had finished writing an exam. The argument degenerated into blows, and Edward Bokete Saki was stabbed multiple times. The suspect has only been identified as Godwin from the visual arts class. He has since been arrested by the police and is in custody. Videos and photos shared on social media showed colleague students in a desperate move rushing Saki to the hospital. He was pronounced dead on arrival. A photo of the victim lying unconscious on a white cloth on the floor has also been shared on social media. We don't want to share that with you. It's too traumatic. Following the Monday incident, a crunch meeting involving the Greater Accra Regional Director of Education, the Municipal Director of Education at the Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly, and the management of O'Reilly Senior High School was called on Tuesday. So the Greater Accra Regional Director of Education, Stephen Abamfo, has said an investigation was underway, aside from efforts to ensure safety on campus. Meanwhile, the father of the victim said he had still not received any official information on the incident almost 24 hours after it happened. We have a video of that particular interaction that the father had with the media. We would like to play that back and then make efforts to get the president of NAGRAT to speak to us about safety on campus, and hopefully also get the GES to make some comments about this, what the whole policy is. Why are students entering campus with knives? You know, well, why do you have a knife? If you wrote an exam, well, how come you enter a classroom, let alone an exam hall? So first of all, let's listen to the father. We aired it earlier on social media corner, and we'll bring it back for you to just appreciate him and his thoughts about this.
It was just I see my boy off to come to school. So I was not set to go to work. So I'm at work and my niece called me that Edward is having misunderstanding. One of the students is having misunderstanding with Edward. So I should come. And so I asked her that, are there not teachers at the school? And she said the teachers are not sitting there unconcerned. And what is happening is unfair, so I should come. So I said, okay, then I'm coming. So on my way, when I got to the motorway, she called that the boy that is fighting with Edward, I've stabbed Edward, lying down at the school premises, breathing. And the teachers are still sitting unconcerned. I said, wow. Then I said, I'm coming. So on my way, when I get to Kotobabi, she called again that there's the students have gathered themselves and picked him up. So they are going to Lekma. So I should rather come to Lekma and meet them there. So when I drove and I reached Lekma, I went to the emergency. The doctor said Edward had passed away. And that is it. So when they showed me the body, the boy stabbed him 3 times on his chest. From yesterday up to now. The police have not caught, the school authorities have not caught. Even the boy who killed my son, none of the family have even reached me. That's why we are here to seek for justice for my son.
What intentions do you have going forward?
So he's since been arrested, but the issue still stays. I mean, it's a safety issue. Knives on a campus. I mean, this is just crazy. And we are making efforts to speak with this representative of the teachers, not NAGRAT. They represent teachers in Ghana, and GES also. We're trying to get through to Cassandra Chum Ampofo. She's the PRO. And as soon as we get her, her and Mr. Angel Kabono, who is the NAGRAT president, will get some information. We can get you the latest on that. But yeah, latest is the police have arrested this boy. I mean, condolences to his family. I don't know how his father must be feeling right now. You know, you send your child off to school to write an exam, and then you come back to meet him dead in a hospital. It's crazy. I don't know. Any thoughts on that? I mean,
Kafi, before I get there, I will.
No, let's not go back to politics. Let's talk about this.
No, it's not politics.
You are disrupting the program.
I'm not disrupting the program.
I'll give you a chance to speak about.
He has said some things that are not factual.
I did not say I will not give you the opportunity. Please. I did not say I would not give you the opportunity.
I have two opposition people here, so definitely I should be able
you
to.
are not being fair to all of us here.
You are not also being fair to me because you started with me. I should have at least some rebuttals.
You
didn't
control
give
the
me
show.
rebuttal.
I told you I'll give you a chance. I didn't say you're not going to speak. Please.
1-1, so that at least.
Can we get the GES and NAGRAT on the show and let's go with politics for now? Let me just read some messages. Yeah. And that's the issue with a lot of these. Can I have some order, please?
Is he not opposition?
Can I have some order? I don't see you as a disruptive force, but today you are changing.
I've been on this show with you for a long time.
You know?
It's desperation.
With respect, I think the death of a small boy, death of this 18-year-old is more important than you trying to rebut. Yeah, I think it's more important.
I was thinking it should be the first topic. It was 1 week.
No, but you cannot produce the show. You can't. Unless you want to come and take my seat and we change seats and then you sit here and I wear your colors and then I start talking about bold solutions, which can't happen, you know. So allow me to do my job and I also allow you to do your job. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. There's peace in the house. Okay, all right. So we are making efforts to get through to, and that's the thing about some of these government officials. So something happens, and then you want to call them, and they just don't want to speak. It's not just GES. It's also even EPA. So Galamsey issue happens. You call the EPA guy. The guy says he can't talk, but the guy is on the ball. So why are you working really? Why are you working? We need answers, we can't get the answers. It's just not on, okay? And when you don't respond to these things, then it makes people feel that there's something not quite right, you know, and it doesn't really help as far as education of the people, because we're here to educate people and get some answers. But for those of you who are teachers, I mean, I've read on social media that because teachers are not allowed to discipline students, there's been a complete breakdown of discipline on campuses. You can't cane people again, and so people misbehave. But I want to know what the security situation is like. Do you do checks? Do you make sure that people don't bring in foreign material into the campus? Clubs, sticks, knives, catapults, things like that. You know, we really would like to find out from you what the issues are on that front. And when we get through to the GES folks and the NAGRAT folks, we will get through to you. There's another story that caught my eye. I'll deal with that before we come back and get your rebuttals. So almost 500 people have been arrested in Kumasi as a result of another Ponzi scam. It's called QNet. And it's in the news. So people were found arrested over the Ponzi scheme, page 13 of today's graphic. So 487 people are arrested over a suspected Ponzi scheme in Kumasi, the Ashanti region. 257 females, 230 males arrested in a house in Ejuman near Kenyasi, a suburb of Kumasi. They are currently in police custody. Police investigations established that the suspects through the scheme has successfully enticed unsuspecting persons from various parts of the country to part with various sums of money under the guise of offering lucrative returns on their investments. 12 of the arrested suspects were named. They are all in today's graphic, and the police is urging the public to be wary of such schemes and report such activities to the police. So that's something also where people have lost their money, and good job on the Ghana police for arresting these people.
Why hasn't responded?
To O'Reilly.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to talk about.
I was thinking
we're not going to talk about O'Reilly because we want somebody to come and speak about it. Yeah. You want to make some comments on it? You still want to talk about O'Reilly?
Yeah, we can still make some comments. I think when I saw the Father Grant in the interview, I was quite surprised because he had so much courage to even stand there and grant interview. You send your son to school. I suppose that he's a day student. Looking at what he said, a day student goes to school, then you hear that there was some altercation between him and someone, and boom, you hear that he's dead. Then from there you come. I don't know how to.
It's a crazy thing.
Yes.
Let's speak to the president of NAGRAT, the National Graduate Teachers Association of Graduate Teachers, Mr. Angel Kabono. Mr. Kabono, good morning. Welcome to the show. Hello. Yes, Mr. Kabono, good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. This is Kafui speaking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I just wanted, we're at a loss over this whole O'Reilly student stabbing case, because it appears that the child brought weapons into a school environment. There was an altercation. He stabbed somebody else, and now that person is dead. I just wanted to know whether there's a policy on what the policy is on school security, school safety.
Yeah, students are not allowed under any circumstances to enter the school premises or to possess in the school premises any offensive weapon. So for you to come to school with an offensive weapon means that you have two things in mind. Either you have something to do with inflicting injury on your colleague, or maybe somebody is threatening you and you may want to defend yourself. Whatever it is, the rules do not allow any student to come to school with an offensive weapon. And that is very, very clear. It is unfortunate and sad what happened 3 days ago, because the father saw his son off to school, a candidate who was scheduled to write an examination, only for the evening for the father to go and see the dead body of the son. It's a very, very sad situation. And all these situations are as a result of the level of indiscipline that has bedeviled our schools. And there are reasons for this situation, Kafui. In an attempt to also belong to a modern world, in an attempt to please our donors and to indicate that we have also become Western, we have diluted the way we handle and discipline our students, to the extent that the teacher is even confused as to what to do so as not to get himself embarrassed or get himself in trouble. And the students also know the situation and they are taking advantage of it. Yes, this has happened at O'Reilly. I'll go to all the schools throughout the country and the situation is not a good one at all.
Who is liable now for the death of this child?
Well, it is the one who murdered the child. The young man who murdered the child is the one who is liable. Because, one, you came to school with an offensive weapon and you were fighting. And we saw the video footage of the two students fighting. And one used an offensive weapon to inflict injury 3 times on his other colleagues. You can't blame the teachers or the school authorities.
Why not? Are they not supposed to maintain a secure and safe environment? If you say the policy says you cannot bring weapons into the environment, why didn't the school make sure that weapons did not enter the environment?
What force, what authority do they have? You see, when you say the teacher is supposed to maintain law and order, then you need to empower the teacher to be able to maintain that law and order without interruptions from anybody.
What prevents a school from acquiring equipment or just getting people to do body search before you enter the premises?
How does the school acquire the equipment? Where is the money coming from? The school is not allowed to charge even 1 peso. The school is even not allowed to engage parents to contribute money. So how can they get the equipment? Only government can bring the equipment if the government thinks that it is necessary to bring equipment.
But how about body search? You don't need equipment for body search. You just pat the person down to make sure you're not carrying anything. How about that?
Well, there was a case in the Western region when a teacher searched the body of a female student. And then the girl went and reported. This case went to court where the girl said that she was sexually molested.
Was it a male student?
It's a female student.
Was it a male teacher?
No, she was searched by a female teacher.
It was a female teacher who searched the female?
Yes. Yeah, you see, when we stretch the frontiers of right to a state of absurdity, this is the situation we get. Look, when I was in school, I went to secondary school at the age of 10, 11. The rules were strict. The teachers exacted the rules to the letter. There was no interruption from any so-called human rights group. We survived it. I survived secondary school for 7 good years. From secondary school, away from my parents. I went through it. Today, it looks as if parents are rather worshipping their children. And I don't know where that nonsense is coming from. Look, let me tell you, a child is not a friend to the parent, though. This Western convoluted philosophy that some people are copying blindly here is contributing to some of these situations in our schools. You know, where children, I have experienced a situation where a child was talking to the parent as if he rather gave birth to the parent. You know, you can't do that in front of me if I'm your teacher. You can go to hell, I don't care. You can't do that in front of me. You know, so this whole human rights nonsense that we are pushing in schools, sometimes they say, you don't talk to a child because it can have psychological effect on them. All these things, look, in my day, you run away to town, you are demonetized, regardless of where you come from. If you perform below a certain level, you are either dismissed from the school or you are repeated. Today, you cannot even repeat a child. You can't even repeat a student. So people come to school, they don't even sit in the classroom. They've not even written one exam, and yet they are being promoted from Form 1, Form 2 to Form 3. This is the school situation that we have to contend with.
What do you...
What else?
Yeah, go ahead.
Come again?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the school situation. And what do you want the teachers to do? A student comes to school, he does not attend class, he's not written any termly or semester exam, and yet you have to withdraw the student. They are not secondary school material, and they are in the schools because they say what? That's the policy. Nowadays, we use your seriousness in the school when you withdraw from the school. So you struggle so as not to fall below the red line.
Mr. Kabunu, would you wish for caning to return to the Ghana school system?
Why not? Why not? When we remove this, what is the outcome? We have removed it for many years now. What is the outcome? Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and you know, people create the impression that the caning was like, no, you can and supervise the caning. It was not a free-for-all situation in the schools. It is just unfortunate that those who operate outside the school think that they can manage the schools better than those who operate within the schools. I am talking.
Yes.
I'm talking about a situation where the teachers and management of the schools are in absolute control. Where when you come to school, the school rules and regulations are read to both the parents and the students. And then the rules and regulations have to apply. The sanctions have to apply. Because in a school, we have about 4,000 students in some schools. So one or two bad nuts should not contaminate the majority who know the purpose for which they are in the schools.
Indeed. We are in September now. parents are preparing to send their children to senior high school, with this news coming here, a lot of parents will start thinking, hey, where am I sending my child to? Are there any words you can offer to parents to set their minds at ease, and teachers as well, and students too, with respect to school safety?
Well, look, the people who stay in the school 24/7 with the students are the teachers. We have house masters, house mistresses, assistant house masters, administrators. We have teachers and so on and so forth. You have brought your child from far and near into school to be educated for a period of 3 years. You should have faith and confidence in the people for whom you have surrendered the lives of your children to ensure that the environment is kept in harmony for teaching and learning to take place. For your child outside the school and be directing how schools are managed and run. You cannot do that. And when schools take decisions, somebody at some point just gives directives that this decision flies at the face of this and at the face of that. So the teachers also withdraw, because after all, the teacher is employed to teach geography, but yet you create problems for him when they want to take care of the welfare of the child. You see, so I'm saying that we all have to come back to the round table and ask ourselves whether the way we are going is good for us.
Mr. Kamonu, I thank you so much. President of the National Association of Graduate Teachers, Mr. Angel Kabonu, talking about school safety, and I just weep for the public schools, because I am definitely sure that the private school people will up their security with this news. They will buy scanning machines, they will get security people, they will check the students for the internet. They will do all of that. And it's unfortunately, it's the public schools where you have majority of students going to school who will still be in this system where you're not too sure whether your child's colleague has a catapult or a knife or what implement on his body. And it's just so sad. We'll take a couple of messages. I'll get wrapping on comments. You can respond to whatever you have to respond quickly. But just a couple of quick messages. Thelma.
Yeah, worrying thing there that happened at Orali yesterday. And again, our condolences to the bereaved family. Message says, good morning, Kafui. All I can say is get your research team to do this research. Discipline on SHS, so senior high schools and senior high technical school campuses in Ghana. When done, come and report your findings to Ghanaians. He says, let's keep on blaming teachers. This emoji makes me think that this comment is with tongue in cheek, maybe. I don't know if you agree. Kafui, please ask my brother from the NPP his take on policing the borders to prevent the smuggling of maize, to policing our water bodies. Bear in mind that when it comes to food, it's rather the neighboring countries that smuggles to Ghana, not the other way around. Anyway, what has happened to our planting for food and jobs? Stop Galamsey now. This is for our NPP panel member.
Yes, for the policing of the Galamsey and water bodies, I have really explained what is in our manifesto on page 155, looking at where we are, where we have come from 2017, the measures that we have put in place that seem not to be working. Now, Dr. Bawumia is saying that the communities will own the mines, so that at least they have the owner's responsibility to protect their water. On the borders, I know that a lot of, if we check on page 33 of our manifesto, we have said that we will employ about 20,000 more people within the security agencies so that they are able to really police these areas.
So next message says, students spend 70% of their time in schools, but the government has deliberately empowered students, and it feels like they are entitled to everything. Meanwhile, government is refusing to upgrade teachers in their respective ranks. This is a message from someone from Techiman. I think this is also a condolence message going to the family that has lost their son in Orali SHS. It's saddening that teachers were there, but they were only there to teach and nothing else. If any teacher had stepped in the child rights director and the parents of the school, of the students, they would have taken that teacher on. So he's saying that if any teacher had stepped in,
the director, the parents of the school would have taken that teacher on. I don't know how that means. I want to ask the child rights director, isn't this the safe school he and his people want to see? We should not wait to get to the point where students go to school to shoot teachers and students alike. Frank the Jew sent this message. Here's one going to the NDC panel member. The message is saying you are blaming the NPP, and that is why the NPP is telling the NDC that if they crossed the traffic light when it was red, and the NPP also crossed when it was red, why should the one who crossed first blame the one crossing second? Please let them speak to solutions and not the blame games. So going to the two of you. Kav, this Galamsey issue, I think the local authorities and the community members are the ones to be championing the fight, but rather they are looking for it to government to fight it. We can't grow as a country if we have this evil mindset.
All right.
Stephen Kwabla from Odumase Krobo. So many more messages, but I think that's all the time would allow us, unless you won't.
No, the next time you come here, you'll be having conversations with health service.
With the health workers, they are marking their 80th anniversary, and the NPP will also be on our table this morning to explain their inclusion, all their policies for women, children, the vulnerable in society to us. It's our manifesto watch.
All righty. Thank you so much, Thelma.
Welcome.
1 minute to wrap up, 1 minute to wrap up, one tomorrow. So let's go. Start with you.
Yes. So on just to tell my honorable man that the Galamsey issue didn't start just 7 years ago. We came and met a very big problem to the extent that former President Mahama, who is now standing to contest as president, went to Chebi and said it's Galamsey headquarters. He raised his hands in despair to say that he doesn't know how to even fight it. I am not surprised that the honorable was not able to even tell us concrete solutions that former President Mahama is going to really employ. I have told you what we'll be able to do. Again, Akonta Mining did not get its license to operate in this country under MPP. Akonta Mining got his license to operate in 2013 under Mahama.
Right.
So Chairman to me didn't start mining just because MPP is in government.
Your minute is up. Mr. Sanchez.
Let me very brief. The issue about the death in this
the boy, yeah.
Very, very unfortunate.
That's crazy.
You know what? I'm amazed and surprised at the father. I put myself in his shoe. I couldn't have even uttered a word. But the man seemed to be very strong. In the sense that, I don't know, sometimes when you are taken by events,
you don't know what is going inside.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we need to drop our hearts up for that man. A very, very strong man. You lose a child in this way, whether we should blame the teachers or school authorities is another question. I happened to be the PTA chairman of Ajimata Preparatory School years back, and a teacher caned a child. I wish you were there as to what happened to the teacher, as to why that capital punishment issue should be revisited or not. It's very dicey. Parents really love their children. Children respect their teachers. But you see, some of us, I happen to be a product of the old system, OMA level, the 7-year system. Now, you ask yourself, was it better than it is today or not? I'm not an advocate of capital punishment. I don't believe in capital punishment. But what should be the alternative? I listened to my brother, Kabon, who happened to be a mate in school. Now, ask me, is caning the ultimate? Personally, I don't think caning should be the ultimate. But what to substitute it with? A child, when I was in secondary school, one of our guys, very notorious, in Form 2, very notorious boy in Cape Coast, he was caned by a teacher, and would you believe he jumped into the bush and he never came back to school again? Are we looking at these issues as well?
Not all of them jump to the bush and not come back.
Well, but not all of them die in school as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So naturally, it's a multifaceted problem.
All right.
That we need to look at.
So we need to look at discipline in the school.
Absolutely.
That's your 1 minute. Thank you. Mr. Atabari, 1 minute.
You know, Kafui and Awal, when you came into power, people were granted licenses. You cancelled them. How can you left?
We suspended for 2 years.
Please. When you there's no time.
The time is gone.
You remember Ibrahim Mohammed's license to work at the...
He went to Supreme Court and lost.
Oh, allow me.
My brother,
you Supreme Court and lost.
Wow, it's enough.
But there's no time.
It's enough. There's no time.
Licenses were given to people. You cancel them, but because he's your original chairman, you are benefiting for. You didn't cancel it. It doesn't matter when it's given. So, and then to come back the issue of indiscipline in the school. Look, Kafui, I'm a teacher, I teach. You see, you can graduate the punishment and then the caning.
Of course, it happened to us.
Caning is not an abuse. No. Even the Bible talks about caning. The Quran talks about caning. Where are we going if our schools cannot be safety place for our children? How can a child stab his colleague that he has been in school for 3 years? 3 times, not once, not twice. Not once. You send your child to school and then they are going to come for the dead body.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Look, the indiscipline is so much. Look, Afri, my child, I'll mention the school. He's in St. Hubert's in Kumasi because he's writing finally I can talk. Because those the one you talk, you can put the punishment on. A similar thing happened. But you see, my child fought back. So I had to go to the school and so on. What happened? The students themselves, these cadets, they do those things. A group just held my child like this, and they were hitting him. You understand? They are their own men because they are cadets. And he also broke away. And the guy he hit him down, and now they were blaming right on my son. So in all, even that my uniform has been stolen. You don't believe it, not food though. If it is food, you can say so. The indiscipline is huge. Parents must sit up.
Big time.
Before my daughter, he went to Central, before he went to Lagos, he has never used a phone. It was when he was in Lagos first year that we bought a phone. So we must be each other's keepers and ensure that the right thing is done.
All righty. Thank you. And Mohammed Awal. And the conversations on discipline will definitely go on because a school must not be a war zone. It must be a place where you take your child for an education, not to come back in a body bag. And capital punishment, even God has capital punishment. You misbehave, you go to hell. So caning, I think, should come back. That's my view. Yeah, thank you. And I stand by it. Thank you so much. God bless. Keep for our children, we beg you. What kind of legacy you leaving for
Sounds Lab, the home and the heart of sounds located at Asylum Down in Accra. Connect with them for excellent sound equipment and other instruments of your choosing. Whatever you need in terms of sound, Virtual Sound has got you covered. Thanks also to Medimosis Medical Center, and they are also proud sponsors of GTV Breakfast. The Health Service Workers Union is marking a significant milestone in the history of healthcare advocacy, and that is the 80th anniversary of the union. They played a role in shaping the healthcare landscape, and this morning representatives from the union are joining us to explore the story of the Health Workers Union, its contributions to healthcare, and the vision for the years ahead. At the table from my immediate left is Mr. Emmanuel Lloyd Bafo. He's the national chairperson, the Health Service Workers Union of TUC. And Madame Harriet Soboan Ponsa is the head of the gender department of the Health Service Workers Union of TUC. Welcome to GTV Breakfast, and thank you for making time to join us.
Thank you.
80 years ago, this union was formed. What was the inspiration?
Right, thank you very much. I'd want to say that the existence of this unionism, like you rightly said, started in the early part of 1944 in Takoradi. And the inspiration that got them together was the fact that they were working in a hospital, the then European hospital. So some individuals came together to establish a union that could bring them together to have a common front, to fight for their right and to ensure that they are well cared for. So this whole thing began in Takoradi, and then it got extended to Ashanti region, Brong-Ahafo region, and to the northern part of the country. From there, they moved on to form a common front. Let me say that there were three independent unions. That's the Gold Coast Hospital Employers Union, Medical Field Unit Employers Union, and the Environmental Health Employers Union. But these finally came together in the year 1955 to form the Hospital and General Health Workers Union, for which the main aim was to establish unity and to fight for a common action, or collective action.
Which categories of health workers do you represent?
Then it covered all the health workers then in the health sector, the medical doctors and dentists, the pharmacists, the nurses, medical assistant, health administrators, and auxiliary staff. So that was then. So in the year 55, when this group came together, they became one powerful group that fought for their rights. Then, fast forward then, the then government, the CPP government, realized that they were too powerful for them and their management. So they managed to convince the medical doctors and dentists, the nurses group, the pharmacists, to go their separate ways, to have their individual professional associations, leaving the rest of the professionals. So then the Health Services Workers Union came into being after they had met and then realized that now that these three groups have left, let's come together and have this common name, the Health Services Workers Union, that covers all other health professions apart from these ones I've mentioned. So you can talk of biomedical engineers, you can talk of the physiotherapists, radiographers, orderlies, and the likes.
Right. Let's talk about the achievements. What are you particularly proud of?
So to add a bit to what our chairman just said, first of all, I want to say a very good morning to our cherished viewers and take the opportunity to congratulate all workers of health, especially the members of HSWU. And so my chairman mentioned some of them, but then, you know, when you enter the health fraternity, a lot goes on. you meet several categories of staff. Currently, our union controls over 100 different employees of health. So with the exception of the nurse, the doctor, and the pharmacist, every other person you meet in the hospital falls under our jurisdiction. And it gets to a point, and it's as if the employer doesn't even know that in the service we have other professions other than the nurse and the doctor. Because for a doctor to be able to diagnose, you need the services of the health information officer to provide you with the data. Before the nurse will take the vital signs, after seeing the doctor, he will refer you to go to the diagnostics, to either go to the radiology for a scan, a CT scan, a lab, or any other investigations. Based on the findings, then he will prescribe. Then you go to the pharmacy. At the pharmacy, with the exception of workers there who holds degree in pharmacy, the rest are also our members. You see, and then again, go to the theater. We have people there who works. It's not only the doctor and the nurse who works there. Other people are there to ensure the equipment there functions appropriately. They are the biomedical engineers that he mentioned. It is somebody's duty to ensure that the scissors, the needles, the gauzes, everything that is used on the theater table goes through certain processes that we refer to as sterilization before they are used on you. We mentioned dialysis. Who works at that department? It's not only the nurse and the doctor. There are people there who ensures that the whole process functions accordingly. And so there are technicians in there who assist with this. You go to the mortuary. Who are the people there who ensures our last days on earth we are taken care of before we go down the grave? All these people are members of the Health Services Workers Union. But talking about a challenge, because in this Ghana, everybody feels that a female working in the hospital is a nurse, a male working in the hospital is a doctor. And so it gets to a point the employer himself gets confused. And so hearing about certain privileges, putting premium on some health workers, you least hear of this cadre of persons I mentioned. You go to the district health directories, they don't work directly at the hospitals, but they are with the communities to ensure that we do preventive health care. And so we have a category of staff, we refer to them as technical officers, and they are the Allied Health Professions Group. There are over 18 different categories. Educate, health promoters are there, disease control officers, nutrition officers. You find all of them, public health officers. You see them sharing mosquito nets, giving this, giving that. COVID came, they will go pick the samples, bring them to the labs before they are diagnosed. All these people are there. They are not nurses, they are not doctors. And so when we come to quality healthcare delivery, we in the Health Services Workers Union, that is why every year we celebrate our achievement and we call it the HSWU Week celebration.
So one of the achievements is creating visibility about the functions of other players in the healthcare delivery system, not just the doctors, nurses, and the pharmacists.
And making the employer and the entire Ghanaian population know that in the health service delivery, it is not only two professions, but hundreds other professions are inclusive. Together, we provide the care that you need, because it is the duty of somebody to go and clean before somebody can come and sit in to work. It is the duty of somebody to enter data, because for healthcare to strive, you need credible data. And so we have things like DIMS, we have HAMS, and other things. All these things are managed by professionals. And so we want to put the emphasis on ourselves and advocate for ourselves, for the employer to know that if you want us to give you what you are looking for, then treat us equally.
Treating you equally in terms of conditions of service, I'm sure is very, very key. You've mentioned that sometimes lack of appreciation of the work that some of the health service workers put into the whole, value chain. What are the most pressing issues, and what kind of help are you looking for from government and other stakeholders?
Right. So we are healthcare givers, but we ourselves, we don't get the care that we need. It is very pathetic to see a health worker struggling for his or her life without any support from the employer. You will sit in there, other categories of persons, Ghanaian workers, will fall sick, they will come in as a result of where they work. They come, you see them for free. At the end of the month, you submit the claims to their employers and you get your reimbursement, including their family members, dependents. But we working there, you are sick, and at times you are even forced to pay for your own consultation fee. You go through the diagnostics if you don't have money covered. You struggle to pay for your treatment, submit your claims to the employer, and all you hear is that NHI have not paid, and so there's no money.
What kind of efforts have you put into getting some of these back? And we have to talk about your anniversary before we go, so wrap this up very, very quickly for me. Have you communicated this?
We have, and currently we are even on the negotiation table, struggling to review our collective agreements on some of these provisions that we have. Even uniforms to wear to work is a challenge. We have a number of these issues. If we want to outline them for the sake of time, we will not be able to exhaust it, but we have a lot of challenges.
So the 80th anniversary is an opportunity to highlight some of these issues. What are you doing as part of the celebration?
Yeah, so we've empowered our various regional capitals to, as you said earlier, to showcase what we do in our various hospitals. So they are carrying out some health talks, they are carrying out some cleanup exercises, and then engaging members and to educate them on the health services and its achievement. And like I said, the health services fund that we have established for our members for now.
What's the fund about?
It is a mutual fund that we are establishing to put members on the pedal where we're going to support them when the need arises. It is a fund that we have added the Tier 3, the Provident Fund, for their future. So we are looking at the fact that by the time you should retire, you should have a very good package for you. Individuals who are in need of soft loans, quick loans, and some materials for their upkeep in terms of maybe building and equipping them whilst they are in the service.
Right.
And so
80th anniversary, your last comment.
Yes, so the main theme for the celebration is achieving universal health coverage, the role of the health worker. And we also have 3 sub-themes, and we want to look at collective agreements and its effect on the health worker, migration of health workers and its effect. Like we said, our members are also migrating to look for greener pastures, but no one mentions it. You only hear that nurses are going, doctors are going. The lab person is also gone. The X-ray practitioner is also gone, who has achieved this universal health coverage by 2030. And so we are climaxing this whole celebration on Thursday, that is tomorrow, God willing, at Mensville Grand Hotel, East Legon, 9 a.m. And we are engaging stakeholders, policy makers to digest these themes that we have placed before ourselves so that together we can all achieve this milestone come 2030.
Thank you for sitting with us this morning and for sharing insights. Congratulations on your celebration. I think that all of us have wishes to your members ahead of your conference tomorrow. Tomorrow at Mensville Grand Hotel East Legon at 9 a.m. Join the Health Service Workers Union as they mark 80 years of massive support to the health industry, and they will appreciate all your support as well. We'll take a quick break. When we return, the NPP explains its plan for women, children, and social protection after this.
Live from GBC Studio 1, this is The Breakfast Show.
TV Breakfast. This is Manifesto Watch on the Breakfast Show, and we are looking into the New Patriotic Party's manifesto, and particularly about their gender, children and social protection policies. We want to explore the party's stance on empowering women, gender equality, and addressing gender-based violence. And we'll look at what the party's gender policy means for Ghana's future. To help us do this is Ama Sewa Nekwe Tete. She is the chairman of the Gender, Children and Social Protection Manifesto Subcommittee of the NPP. Ama, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is part of GBC's Ghana Wins platform, where we give opportunity to political parties to explain their policies to the Ghanaian to help them make a good choice come December 7. And today, you're having your turn on the platform. Your good friends from the NDC were here yesterday, also explaining their agenda policies. Today, it's your turn. What are the key objectives when it comes to the aspect of the manifesto that covers women, children, and social protection issues? What are the key ones for the NPP?
Thank you and good morning. The NPP is the party that started the Ministry for Women and Children. The NPP is the party that has enacted the Affirmative Action Bill, made it into an act. The NPP goes beyond tokenism when it comes to women. Our records are clear. Our long-standing commitment to the well-being of women and children is factual. It's not just a matter of talk. And this beautiful legacy is one that we are trying to continue. In fact, we think that it is time to take it up a notch, several notches, in fact. And that is what we have done with this manifesto. Under the broad aegis of a fair, inclusive, and responsible society, we're looking at what can be done for the vulnerable and also what can be done for women. It's important, Thelma, that I start by saying that when we look at women in two broad categories. Women are the bigger half of Ghana. And so all the policies in this manifesto are policies for women. And so everything that you will speak about, every sector, has been written, taking into consideration that Ghana is half male, half female. And so the few pages that specifically talk about women are not the only things. And so if there's going to be an SME bank, that SME bank will benefit women. In fact, there are as many women entrepreneurs, small and medium scale, as there are men. And so read all 260 pages of the manifesto, and you'd realize that the woman will be better off. But that notwithstanding, we also looked at the second category of the woman. Article 17(4) of our Constitution. In fact, Article 17 says that there should be no discrimination. Then 4 says, however, to correct an imbalance, you are allowed to discriminate. And so manifestos, what they must do is to ensure that we obey the laws of the land. And we have to then step back and say, what discrimination exists in society? Who is not being treated fairly? Now, I've told you that we are looking at fairness in society. And so our social protection policies that we have put out there have been written with this in mind. There was a very broad consultation. We spoke to federations, we spoke to individuals. How can you write a manifesto about women without speaking to the actual women? How can you write this about the disabled without actually speaking to the disabled? And so having done this very broadly, we are very satisfied that the offering that we have is superior and is one that will take Ghana to the next revolution, as we have all been speaking about. But then I'll go into it and tell you some of our offerings. Details. Yes. The first and the big one is that the NPP commits to the full implementation of the Affirmative Action Act passed by the NPP. This bill that for over 13 or so years has been going back and forth has been passed under the NPP. I do not see a better way of showing this commitment to women and children.
But you acknowledge that other people held on to the advocacy. They helped the fight.
People. You're talking about political parties here, and it's the NPP that passed it.
NPP may have passed it, but other players, advocates, including perhaps you would want to admit the NDC or not?
Yes, but the bill was in Parliament when the NDC was in power. So why go and advocate for it now that the NPP is in? Why didn't you just pass it? But I would like to tell you about why passing it's actually, I think, when it comes out, going to be called the Gender Equity Act. Mm-hmm. We are still waiting for the final document to come out.
Yes. Any indication when that might happen?
No, and not just for the president to sign, but to see what the final document looks like. Remember,
yes, an early copy.
An early copy, but that was what went in. There were over 30 changes, not major ones. And these changes were on the issues of law, for instance. The commitment, and I see that other parties are saying they'll commit to 30% of women in politics, in political positions. The difficulty then with Parliament, and not just with the MPP, was that it is not up to you. The Constitution says that it's first past the post. How do you then say for sure that you're going to do this? What the NPP is saying for sure when it says it is committed to the full implementation is that when it comes to the executive positions and other non-votable positions, increasingly, and starting from at least 30%, increasingly, this party will ensure that we have a fairer society. Our society is half female, half male, and that makeup should reflect in all spheres of our lives. When it comes to politics and women in elected positions, we would have to lobby, and it is not just a matter of one party. It is a matter of all parties being sure and pushing policies that will enable women come up. When NPP says that we will make sure that the Gender Equity Act is implemented in full, it is about ensuring that private sector also follows suit. It is about giving tax incentives to those in the private sector who can show us that they are making an effort to put more females in their employ. It is about giving certification. When you see it, it's not just a political thing, the act. And so embedded in that promise to in full implement it is a lot. I mean, we've written it in 2 lines, but that act, and we have seen it before, there have been acts that have been passed and it has not really been enacted, but its implementation is what MPP is committed to. And that's a huge thing. We could have just stopped there, but we didn't. So I'll go on. Should I?
Go on. I mean, I do have some questions, but I want you to make your initial substantive submission.
All right,
so that we can
so give me some time. Now, gender equality in education is important. We have just spoken about gender equity. Now, that means that here, when we are talking about your producers and we are talking about your technical people, there should be as many females as men. But how are we going to get there if we do not train as many females in these professions? And so it starts right from our education. And that is why we have spent some time to talk about what we will do. Right down from the curriculum, where we are going to ensure that the examples are not of the father is going to work, the mother is in the kitchen. Making sure that we celebrate our female heroes. Ensuring that historically, courses with historically low enrollment for females are pushed, have a lower entry for females, because we want to have as many engineers as we have female nurses. And so what that means is that we have to do everything.
And as many male nurses as we have.
Oh, yes. But male and female nurses, we are not doing badly. They are not as, for a long time there was an imbalance that is being corrected. And so to do that, right from education, we must let the girl child think they can. And not only can in some professions, but in all of the professions. And so it is about what mitigations we will put in place, what incentives we will put in place to make sure that this happens in education.
Teenage pregnancy, child marriage, all these have been proven to hinder female or child education progress. What systems have been put in place, or if there are, what are they, to make sure that these barriers are removed, even including child marriages?
So child marriages in the Constitution is an issue that is dealt with from the Constitution, which actually gives consent and also gives a marital age, which are separate, which are different. Mm-hmm. And I know constitutionally it has to be put right. Yeah. Otherwise, if the child above 16 is getting into a marriage, etc., it makes it difficult. When it comes to teenage pregnancy, There are clear, as it happens now under the NPP, there are clear back-to-school policies, re-entry programs. Gone are the days where if a child is impregnated, that is it for her education. There are also a lot of social policies in place. Poverty is one of the reasons why there is a lot of teenage pregnancy. And clean sweep across this manifesto will tell you that there are a lot of poverty alleviation measures in place, which will then, as one of its consequences, mean that our vulnerable children do not end up pregnant.
In the central region, we got disturbing stories about girls forced to go into sexual encounters with boys and men just so they can afford sanitary pads. And this pad issue has become very, very topical. Your opponents are saying they will give free sanitary pads for some. So if there's a girl in that community that faces that challenge, they may think that this is a laudable initiative. What's the NPP's plan for hygiene health?
Thank you. The World Bank, and indeed all those who work in hygiene health, have said that to ensure that there is dignity in menstruation, which again all women face, we should ensure that there are facilities, sanitary facilities, everywhere. And in our manifesto, we have made it very clear, in all public spaces, that means schools, that means GBC. There are still locked places, and if somebody wants to use the toilet in most of our open places, it's difficult. You'd have to beg someone to let them use it. Sanitary pads are important. Its affordability and its use for hygienic purposes cannot be discounted. That is why the MPP government has made sure that there is no tax on locally produced sanitary pads. Remember, we are trying to develop our business. Baumia means business. And what better way can we do it? Why do we import sanitary pads? Why don't we ensure that what we need, such an important thing, is done here? And if you do it here, it's going to be tax-free.
Some say remove all the taxes, even if they are imported.
And I am saying let the government and the people benefit. Let local businesses thrive for such an important thing as sanitary pads that many women will need monthly.
That's what deemed a luxury item.
Yes, and I'm glad that that's now, with the removal of the local tax for locally manufactured sanitary pads, means that it will be affordable. It's affordable now. The choice to buy a foreign imported sanitary pad will be yours.
Because there are some sanitary towels produced locally that go for maybe 16 to 18 Ghana cedis. And some think that's a bit steep, especially if you can't afford
but you are asking me to comment on business that is outside of my mandate. If all the taxes have been removed on it, as a government, that is creating an enabling environment for it to be cheaper. But I also would like to say that the social protection measures that we have in place, including LEAP, including the Ghana Household Register, is targeting the most vulnerable in our society. And these families are going to get and have been getting aid. And that includes being able then to afford pads. What we are not going to do is to spend a lot of money giving them out, whether it is needed or not. We are trying, using digitalization, to better target the indigent in the society, the vulnerable in the society. And if there are going to be any particular measures, it will be to these homes. If there are going to be local scholarships, that's why I'm talking about better targeting. No one will say that
it's not a sweep.
Yes, no one will say that we do not need to ensure that sanitary pads are cheaper. But we are going to do it in a way that lasts. We're going to do it in a way that targets those who need it the most and ensure also the Ghanaian businessman gains in the end.
My last point on women, because of lack of time, is the constraints of women entering into or accepting political appointments. Those are sometimes cultural, sometimes not. But some of them are also self-imposed. We find our male figures insisting that women step back so that male contestants, male candidates are put forward when it comes to certain positions. Even in politics, the recent election of parliamentary candidates saw some instances of that happening across the political parties. What have you put in place to ensure that women are better in a position to accept these things so that it does not become, like you said, if the women are not there, we can't appoint them? How do we make sure we are removing the bottlenecks to get them there in the first place so they can qualify to be chosen?
Thank you. So we have started talking about education, and I've talked about politics in education. So at our universities, we are working as an NPP on women in TESCON, women in different political groups, and we are empowering women generally. You would notice that as women are empowered, their willingness to go into various sectors also increases. And so that is what we are doing. As a party, like I told you, by law, you cannot ask someone to step aside so another person goes. What we have to do is to ensure that the women can compete both for both.
But they send your family members, they send your pastor to you, and they send influential people to ask you to step back.
But the numbers are growing for us as a party. And then the NPP is looking after its women much better.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
The NDC says it has appointed arguably the first woman to have a clear shot at the presidency by electing Professor Nana.
You see, we do not want one out there that we can point at. It's a good thing. But we do not just want one woman, okay, then we don't have to do anything else. We want our policies to be far-reaching. I want the woman in my village to feel the impact of a Bawumia presidency. It is good that why should we even clap for vice presidents? We also want to be presidents. And yes, it's a great shot. But now we have a crop of women in the NPP, and we are encouraging young women in the NPP who are coming up. And don't be surprised to see more of these. And across Ghana, mind you, Thelma, we are talking about a manifesto for the people of Ghana, not just for the NPP. And a lot of these, you said for want of time, but let me speak about women in the workplace. A lot of women start off, they have all the academic laurels, they start at the workplace, and for some reason they find the atmosphere not conducive, and they give up. And so a lot of work is being done to ensure that in the workplace there are facilities, sexual harassment laws are enhanced, and also that women who go for maternity, for instance, can come back to their job and not have to be passed over for promotion because they didn't do a full year, etc. A lot of what we have put in place for women will be done by the government, the civil service, by the policies, and not by the party itself. And already the NPP has done a lot, but we recognize there is more to do, and that's what this manifesto addresses.
Gender-based violence and support for survivors. What's the NPP's bold solution?
I'll start with support for survivors. The NPP has said that it's going to work very closely with the private sector to ensure shelters for the vulnerable. Now, we have said shelters for the vulnerable because we realized it could be old people. We had the sad case of the woman who was left to die by the roadside, who was left from the hospital. I mean, whilst it is a failure of the hospitals, the entire town watched a woman who had just been dropped off and did not care. We are looking at bringing back our values, our community spirit, so that we care and can help each other and support each other. That is important to us. We will also bring back, ensuring that women and men can work together without, every time we talk about gender, lingering in the background is, oh, you're going to try and push men out of our way. And that is not it at all. It's about addressing an imbalance. We are not even at 2080 in most cases, and that is what we are trying to push.
And these shelters, how will they be set up?
So the shelters will be set up by private individuals, and this is from best practice across the world. I have heard other people talk about then it is being run at government cost. Children who are found without parents in the short time that they have to be removed from their homes. It means that old men and businessmen. And we stop this over-dependence on the government for everything. That is an important step. It goes beyond just saying we will build shelters. It takes some time. Right from
I found quite interesting reading the manifesto. So this is on page 112 of the NPP's manifesto. Under the Fair, Inclusive and FBOs, CSOs and the youth organizations will initiate a nationwide conversation on the moral vision and values that should define national leadership and the role of citizen vision and values that we need to have a conversation about.
It's very common now whenever social vices or certain things happen for people to say, oh, we have lost our values, we have lost who we are, we have been adulterated by foreign practices, etc. What does it mean to be a Ghanaian? What are the Ghanaian values? What are we upholding? And many countries have sat down to have that conversation. What is important to society has always been strong. It's actually politics that has relegated it. It's up to us to have that conversation. What are the roles of Queen Run Truant, Who is ensuring now that when children are supposed to be in school, and I'm sure when you were growing up, you remember that you dared not. So this is a conversation that must be had devoid of politics and tribes. What does it mean to be a Ghanaian, and who do we think the Ghanaian citizen is? What do we want to see? And that's a national conversation that we will have. Please do not let me leave without talking about land rights for women, because this is important. The reason why many women entrepreneurs have not been able to climb as high as they would is because of the age limit in the names of their husbands. And so go and bring a building as a collateral at the bank is where most female-owned businesses stop.
How are you going to fix this?
We're going to fix this to start with the Women's Trade Empowerment Fund, which is actually looking just at women. Of course, I have said the SME fund is there for all. So beyond that, in particular, we are going to look at women's funding. Ensuring that their businesses work, but also land rights. Let it be named individually so that the women can also use it. This practice, and I know that the Spicer Rights Bill is before public, particular programs aimed at women farmers, because a lot of the women farmers are peasant farmers. They don't go beyond that to even become middle level. So let us ensure that this property owning democracy that the NPP talks about is not just for men. And that is what we are going to do to make sure that women own property.
Let's focus on children, girls. What are some of the policies for protecting children, knowing that streetism is on the increase, and sometimes trying to find a solution just seems ever elusive?
All right. Now, the beauty of the NPP manifesto is how about comes very much into play here. We must know who our children are. We must know where they are, and we must be able to track them. When I see children on the streets, I'm sure as do you, you wonder, so where are their parents? Isn't someone missing them? And using now, and you must know that the NIA is piloting registration of children 5 years to 16 now. It's happening now. And it has already been announced that from birth, children will be registered. That means that every Ghanaian child will have an identity. This identity will follow them to school. We should know when Yamansa is not registered in any school, even though Yamansa is 4 years, and the free compulsory universal basic education. Trafficking children, sending children off to do hazardous work, these are cancers of our society, will be mitigated. Because once we know where the borders, we should be able to tell that that child is no longer in school, and the parents should be held and brought. When we talk about children, Thelma, we are talking about a vulnerable group, and protection is our key one. The Children's Department is an entire agency. The NPP will look to revamp it, and not just that, a lot of them, so that they can be strong enough, work very closely with social welfare. In fact, share databases, because that becomes the problem. If a child is lost in Accra and found in Kumasi, how do we know? But if we have databases that talk to each other, then we will begin to talk about this. Hazardous work, and sometimes it's even by family. Well, we have a cocoa farm, and therefore we are all going to go and work on it. It's something that we are working on. If we have a national value system and the chiefs are aware that children must be in school, we will know, because the whole society is making sure the right thing is done. And that is why that earlier conversation you spoke to comes about. And then finally, for women, for children, we have isolated KIA to talk about two very important things. It is very difficult as it is to stop the of headquarters. And for headquarters, I mean those within age and below. They are also very vulnerable because most people know that they do business and have cash on them. They are the victims of a lot of heinous crimes. But if they are registered and we know where they are and we can provide for their safety, then that can be a job that is being done legally and well. But people do not also want, in some cases, to remain KIA for life. And so where do they go to from here? And so that's why we are going to have the KIA Empowerment Program, which will ensure that they can transition. If they've come to Accra to work for a while, there should be a brighter future for them.
And what's the plan for children convicted of crimes? So just yesterday, we are talking about what happened in O'Reilly Senior High School with a student stabbing another college student to death. What's the NPP's solution for handling children that have fallen on the wrong side of the law?
Okay. So there's already an act for juvenile crimes. which has become obsolete, both because there have been enacted international conventions that we need to ensure we are following. And so there is a juvenile justice bill currently being prepared to go before Parliament. And this bill ensures that the dignity and the vulnerability of a child is checked. The Constitution, for instance, says that when you put children, you have to detain them. You don't detain them in the same place as adults. Ensure that you realize that they are children. They must, if the law says so, be punished. But how are we going to do it such that these children can then go back to work? And later on in that, the same constitution that we are talking about, you will see re-entry programs.
A correctional facility that seeks to reintegrate.
Exactly, and that's what I'm talking about. Okay. A re-entry program for, please allow me to actually read for you.
Okay,
for
so
children.
We are talking to the NPP's chair of the Gender, Children and Social Protection Manifesto Subcommittee, Amasewa Kwetete, about the NPP's plan for a fair, inclusive and responsible society and citizenship, captured under Principle 7 of the NPP's manifesto. Huge document, but number 7 talks about women, children, and plans for social protection, that is for the vulnerable groups in society. What are your questions for Ama here? 055 55 61034, 055 55 61034. It's Manifesto Watch on GTV Breakfast. Ama.
Thank you. So since we are talking pages, on page 122, access to rehabilitation opportunities, the manifesto will says that NPP will establish a prison to work re-entry program. Now see who will be involved. Of course, Ghana Prisons, but also the Complementary Education Agency, the Ghana TVET Service, and the Ghana Enterprises Agency. We know that reoffending is one of the banes of juvenile offenders. They come out and there is nothing for them to do, and so without a choice, they go back to crime. But there's going to be a very clear plan. One, to give them an education whilst they are still in incarceration. It's already happening, but with the TVET service to ensure that they come out with certification and that there's a clear re-entry program for them. That is going to happen to ensure that we do not lose. The fact that a child has offended does not mean there should be no chance for them in life.
So this education opportunity, is it just for the child offenders, or will that extend to perhaps adult offenders who may be male or female?
No, it does extend to all. In fact, a lot of offenders have received an education in prison. As we speak, I have to be very clear that this is ongoing. But the re-entry to work is a special policy that is coming, and to ensure that particular places of work will be ready to take such young people.
Knowing that many employers do not take ex-convicts to work with them, yes, because they do not pass criminal background checks.
But also knowing that we can send these young people to the employers and clearly say these young people are coming from incarceration, but they do deserve a chance. Put them in certain kinds of work. Like we said, they have been trained to be carpenters. Please put them in carpentry and ensure that we can reintegrate them in society. At that point, they are as likely as you and I to offend, and we therefore should not tar them and make life unduly unbearable for them. We haven't said anything about disability.
Promises have been made to persons with disability and special needs. What's the NPP's plan to improve the lives of our differently abled brothers and sisters?
Thank you. And persons with disability must love the NPP government. We are the government that has made the National Council of Disability a public service agency. We are the government that is promising to make it a public service authority.
What has it achieved?
Oh, it has achieved a lot. Now there is a recognizable body advocating for young, the disabled.
There wasn't before?
No, it was subsumed as part of the ministry. The ministry focuses on working as a policy maker, and the actions itself were often not as far. But the NPP is also the party that has increased by 50% the disability part of the District Assembly Common Fund, and is promising now to increase it even further. What we have noticed with support for persons with disability is that we need to better target, ensure that the funds are going to the right people. The NPP is promising free scholarship for persons with disability now. All education for them is free in this country, because we recognize that already.
You said scholarships.
Yes.
So they have to apply and then be approved?
Yes, and they
Is it automatic approval?
It should be. It will be, because we have said all persons with disability. We haven't said that they should apply and let us see. Because we recognize that it is already difficult enough navigating our education system and our lives with disability. And we also need, because MPP will have a quota, and that's important, and we will enforce that quota. The system already has a quota that's not enforced. The NPP has said in the manifesto, we will enforce a quota that can be taken advantage of. We have to make sure that persons with disability go all the way.
What has the MPP done in 7.5+ years in office to better the lives of persons with disability? Because these are all plans that have been on the books for a while.
Well, I've just told you three, but I can go on. Remember, I said the institutionalization of the national
for public buildings who offer public services to make lives easier for persons living with disabilities. Have those since the NPP have been in power? Because some can use that as a basis to see what
check.
More you can offer.
But you've asked two questions. Allow me to answer both.
Okay.
You're asking if it has improved. I'm not able to independently verify. But what I'm able to tell you is that these laws, especially the disability law, that is why we say immediately that the Persons with Disability Bill will be introduced. Our Act 715 is obsolete now. There are so many things in it that we need to improve to get to international standards. But we also recognize that, for instance, what we call universal design, which means that persons with disability should be able to access all buildings, is one area that we are lacking in. But in the various ministries now, there are working lists to ensure, and also as the Constitution says, as far as is practicable, services that we know the public will access are on the first floor to ensure. And when there are people with disability working in places that as yet do not have universal design, then their offices come down. This is not to say that we are there. There is a big issue in how we treat citizens who are persons with disability. But this manifesto goes a very long way to try and ameliorate some of them. But I was also telling you there are reliefs for persons with disability within the public sector. And the MPP government, especially because now there's an agency working on it, is pushing these reliefs. So in 7 years, yes, a lot has been done for persons with disability. It is nowhere near enough, and I wouldn't like to insult by saying
You talk about special needs education and training programs to prioritize inclusion education by allocating the needed resources towards, and you name a certain number of recruiting special needs teachers, training more speech, language, occupational and behavioral therapists as educational psychologists. Is it the agreement, the law allows for special needs children to be in the same classrooms with their counterparts who may not have those developmental needs? How have those been enforced? How have inclusive conversations happened? And is the GES on board? Because this will not happen overnight, I'm sure.
It wouldn't, but that is the way to go. In fact, our Constitution, all the way from 92, the same disabled children will grow up in the same environment that they would as other children. And so inclusion is the way to go. We understand that there are young people with disability whose disabilities require special care, and we will treat those separately. But we also understand that inclusion means that our teachers must know
what to do. And that is why we have gone straight for training. We have a lot of teachers, about 350,000 in the system already. Already the framework for training teachers will be done, but also specific professions that we've never had in the GES, like speech therapists, language therapists, like behavioral scientists, behaviors. A child has access to these services. Education and the school is no longer just for learning ABC. It's ensuring that our young people thrive. And with these measures, especially for special education needs, the NPP is the party to join. I think I'll give the audience the opportunity to ask a couple of quick questions of Amahe so that we...
Says, what is the NPP's agenda for PWDs, especially women and children, into brackets, women with special needs? Brima,
we've just talked about some of them. Maybe we'll rehash some of those points.
Brima is saying, this is a brilliant and very articulate lady. How are you ensuring that these nuggets get to the ordinary Ghanaian women?
Okay.
Anointed One is greeting you, Thelma. Good morning to you too.
Anointed One, thank you.
Okay.
So we have two things. Breaking it down to the ordinary Ghanaian woman on the street, and then plans for women with disabilities. So I have two now. We'll take note and address them quickly.
Okay. Good morning, GTV. MPP never again in Ghana history. Ama is a very beautiful woman, but MPP and Bawumia has made her a liar, and that is...
Have you lied about anything you've said at the table?
I'm hoping they'll tell me what I lied about.
Okay.
It's a big accusation.
So tell Ama what she lied about, if you believe that that's what she's done.
Masha you sent us this message. You are still here, so let us know what you think she lied about. Tricia is saying, good morning, Thelma and Milady. All these implementations are laid nicely, but when it gets to the ministries, it's all thrown into the gutters. That's why we find the country in all sorts of unfortunate incidents. Okay. T, that's all on the screen.
Okay, thank you, Valerie. So let's start. We were talking already about Peggy's concern, plans for women with disability. We were talking about it already. And then going beyond...
And so plans for women with disability means everything in the manifesto for all citizens, women,
also for women
and also for women, and also for the disability. We also must clearly point out caregivers. The MPP is focusing now on caregivers. Traditionally, they tend to be women, whether they are looking after old women, the elderly, or children with disability. We are going to ensure that that recognition is there, and if it is possible, the quantum of work that they are doing, which arguably could be work for the government, because of the government's duty to care for its vulnerable, will be recognized.
Two quick ones. How are you making sure this is disseminated to people at the grassroots, people who are women who may not understand all this English we are talking about? And then also for the policies not to be thrown away by the ministries, which was Tricia's concern.
Okay, so how are we making sure we are talking across, well, this is one of such platforms, but we're also on the local radios. We are explaining the manifesto and what we want to do. Like I told you, all of this came about because we spoke to the women on the ground and we said, what do you want to see? So already there is input for women, and we will let women know.
Your last word, what's the assurance?
What's the
assurance that this will not all, and it will be your last comment.
We realize it will be my last comment.
Yes, because we've done.
We realize that the job has to be done by the civil service, by the people in government, and it is important that they understand. We already have conversations, and the people at the Ministry of Gender, Women, Children and Social Protection, believe me, are poised to work. They need resources. They need a lot of input. And they gave us some of these. And once the party is in power and it helps them, we'll be fine. Please let me
to the people of Ghana.
Let me also talk about elderly care.
30
and
seconds.
The NPP is going to ensure that there are policies for geriatric care. If there are going to be homes, these homes will be regulated. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to us. I cannot overemphasize. The NPP is the party for women. It's a party for children and the vulnerable in society. It always has been. The fact supports us. And with this constitution, you have no choice but to vote for a Bawumia presidency. NPP means business for children, women, and the vulnerable. Thank you.
Thank you, Ama, and for the time that you've spent sharing with us this morning, explaining the policies for women, children, and the vulnerable in the NPP's manifesto. Ama Sewane Kwetete is the chair of the Gender, Children and Social Protection Manifesto Subcommittee. She's had her turn on Manifesto Watch right here on GTV Breakfast. All political parties have access to this platform created by the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation with one hashtag, Ghana Wins, and that is to explain their policies to you to help you make your choice for December 7. Today, the NPP has had their turn. It will be your party's turn soon, so keep watching GTV Breakfast. Ama, we can go on our tour now.
Thank you. Please, yes.
We'll take a break. We'll be back.
Coming live from the capital. This is the Breakfast Show.
the weekend looking like, fashion-wise? Where do we find you? Where can people come and shop Nasa Couture?
Okay, so my shop is at Islegon, ARS Runabout, just by the roadside, close to Frames Filling Station. I'm easy to locate.
She's wearing hair. That's it. That's it. Thank you so much for doing this. Love your fabric. Love the designs.
Thank you.
We've been having a chat with Nasa. She's a fashion designer. Her clothing is off the hook, and you know, you can actually manage. It's okay for everybody. With like 1,000 Ghana cedis, you can get a dress or a boo-boo.
Something
nice. Across social media, she's Nasa Couture. Final design from Nasa coming up.
A party.
A party.
Let's go for brunch.
That's it. Brunch, Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Enjoy your day. Remember to be kind, yeah?
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Let's go for brunch. Let's go.
Let's go.